In any case, all right, let's pop off. Let's pop off. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Amazon x Trump showdown after tariff receipts. It has QTE pairing. It's not just a simple turn-based game. It's so good. Okay, guys, I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna play this game right now. Okay, I'm just not gonna do it, bro. There's a lot of burning AOC hate posting on your sub. Is getting annoying. Which my sub? You mean Hassan_Piker? Ugh, whatever. Let people chirp. Who cares? I don't. You hate gaming? Stop deflecting. Yes, I hate gaming. You got me. Amazon Trump showdown after tariff receipts. China offers olive branch to U.S. firms after Boeing delivery halt. China olive branch incoming. Trump is so repulsive. He gave the libs a W in Canada. And what else? 100-day report card. We'll do the 100-day report card as well. 100 days of burger madness. Get in now. Are we going to watch RFK Jr. and John Oliver? Sure. Fine. Why not? Any chance of Louis Theroux being on the broadcast? Yeah, I didn't realize that he actually follows me on... Instagram. The account you replied to today is Muda's wife and D Superfan, who is obsessed with you. Their timeline is full of mentions of you and anyone you interact with. Psycho stuff. They had this to say about D's sex pest behavior last year before the latest revolutions and lawsuits. Entertainment indeed. I have no idea who this person is. What are you linking me? I don't even know what this is. Well, I don't know who this is. Destiny should continue to fuck people from Discord. It continues to provide quality entertainment for everyone else. I have literally no idea who this person is. Who is this? You got mentioned twice on Stavi's pod. Yeah. The one you replied to about the article's title. Oh, this is the person I replied to. This morning I saw a fucking post on my For You page that I was like, this is too dumb not to reply to. Oh, wait, this person is Muda's wife? Oh my Lord. Yeah, I saw this post on my For You page say, you know you're cooked hard when you have to explain the joke. So I had to be like, do you think I wrote the stupid headline? Because like, this is not my joke. This is me capitalizing on the dumb headline and the way that Republicans have reacted to said dumb headline by saying these guys are too stupid to understand that this title was wrong because most MAGA weirdos don't actually hit the gym or have a healthy diet. I have nothing to do with said headline. I do not work for the New York Times. I didn't write the article, and I certainly didn't come up with the headline. Also, where's the joke? I wasn't even like, I'm memeing off of like the stupidity of conservatives because they couldn't even like, take a W because they're so angry and so stupid. Why do you all know so much about this person? It's a great question. I think they do because they are really invested in drama. Did you see the White House statement put out last night? It's spooky. Did you listen to NPR's interview this morning about the Palestinian who was arrested? Yes. You mean Mosen? Yes, I did. A journalist was able to get entry into the Vermont facility where Mosen is being held, and Mosen spoke out against his unlawful detention. But yeah, I did listen to it. But the thing that really triggered me into oblivion was when I was in the shower and listening to Caroline Leavitt complain about Amazon. Like, that actually broke my brain. I cannot wait. All you were doing was clarifying that most conservatives. Okay, dude, you're okay. Okay, listen. Real hit dog holler moment, okay? Let's stop. I don't care about this person at all. I didn't even realize that she was Muda's wife. You listen to the news in the fucking shower? Yes, dude. What do you mean? Yes. Of course I listen to the news in the shower. What's your take on kneecap bending the knee to Zionism? Oh, you mean that saying that they condemn Hamas and Hezbollah? Yeah, of course they're going to say that, dude. What are you talking about? You'll go to prison. Like, yeah, it is what it is, At that level, at their level, especially as they're up and comers, like, yeah, of course they're going to fucking be like, yeah, it's really bad and scary. They're doing terrorism. I'm so scared of terrorism. I'm so sorry for saying this is a terrorism. It's like funny because their name is Kneecap. Like, where do you guys think that name comes from? Where do you think that name comes from? It comes from the policy of the IRA shooting someone in the fucking knee, It is what it is. Look, I understand it. it is what it is. No one is gonna come out and be like, No one's going to run around being like they love Hamas and they love Hezbollah. That's it. They're just not going to do that. Especially people who aren't like anonymous Twitter accounts or like someone who is academic or someone who has the capacity to like explain what their position is. Someone like myself, I still get yelled at all the time. They'll be like, "Oh, dude, you love Hamas and Hezbollah," and it's like my explanation for how I talk about it is pretty obvious. Like, of course, resistance groups are going to exist as a direct consequence of the much larger, much greater evil of Israel and the United States of America. It is the reality. You don't have to agree with all of their methods or even their domestic affairs, but the reality of the matter is, like, if you don't want any sort of reaction or retaliation, well, you can't just like keep fucking melting people. Okay, that's the reality. Like, I think Yanis Varoufakis does a pretty good job of talking about this stuff, but again, that's Yanis Varoufakis. You know what I mean? He's not fucking Kneecap. It's just, it is what it is. You have to do your condom hummus. You have to do your 15 condom hummus before before they let you speak. Where was it? I saw Giannis's take on this. I think Squirrel posted about it. But it's like, the question always is, who do you think is the villain here? Who do you fucking think is the villain? Do you think it's the violent resistance against the apartheid state, or do you think it's the state that's doing the apartheid and also doing a genocide on top of that? It's the fucking state doing the apartheid and doing the genocide, okay? Yeah, violence begets violence. There's going to be an inevitable reaction to the 76 years of fucking occupation. It's no different than demanding that you condemn the Nat Turner Rebellion or demanding that you condemn the Haitian Revolution, demanding that you condemn the ANC, the FLN, the IRA over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's just like, it's just a way to try and desperately move the conversation back into a place where Israel is seemingly the victim. It's fucking bullshit. Yeah. Kneecap, lame, sellout, pussies. Okay, everybody needs to fucking calm down as well. And like, they were on the verge of going to prison. Okay, calm down. They're still, they're still eating a lot of damage here. The entirety of the fucking music industry literally got up in arms and started bitching at them. And then it didn't end there. They literally turned around and got Israel advocacy organizations to demand actual investigations, like criminal investigations. It's illegal, okay? It's straightforwardly illegal.
Those who try very hard to extract from people like me, from DM25, a condemnation of the attack by the Hamas guerrillas will never get it. And they will never get it for a very simple reason. Those who care about humans without any discrimination, those who care equally about a Jew and an Arab, must ask themselves a very simple question. What exactly is their idea of the cessation of hostilities? That Palestinians are going to lay down their arms?
Didn't other artists voice their support on stage? Yeah, it's different. They found... look, the real story is they said, fuck Israel, free Palestine on their post in Coachella. And then that caused everyone to do the fucking classic thing where they use a fine-tooth comb to find any moment or anything that they've ever said that they could remotely use against them, to find an old footage of them in a concert. I forget where it was, where they were saying like, up Hamas, up Hezbollah. And then that is what created a British investigation, a British counterterrorism investigation. And for that reason, they had to, back down and be like, yo, my bad. We don't condone, we condemn Hamas. We condemn Hezbollah. Like, of course they're going to do that. They're fucking, the kill your MP is the major thing. That's why MPs are blasting them. Wait, I didn't even see that they said kill your MP. They got the Hasanabi treatment, but the difference is they're not fucking political commentators. They're musicians. So obviously, regardless of their political perspective, regardless of their political framework, like, their major output is not this. This is all I fucking do. So I can explain my positions over and over again, regardless of how much people clip me out of fucking context,
Into the largest open-air prison in the world, where they are constantly suffocated by the apartheid state. In other words, back in South Africa, in the era of apartheid. What was the problem? Was it that some members of the black resistance, including the ANC, but not only the ANC, took up arms against the South African regime and sometimes killed innocent people? Was that the problem with apartheid? No, the problem was apartheid. Apartheid, whether it's practiced in South Africa or in Palestine or Israel, is always going to procure violence because it's a violent, misanthropic system. Any human being living under apartheid at some point will either die a terrible silent death or rebel and often take innocent people with them. The criminals here are not Hamas, not even the Israeli settlers who are killing Palestinians. The criminals are Europeans, us, every single member of our German society, our French society, our Greek society, our United States society. We have participated in this crime against humanity over the decades by keeping our mouths shut as long as there is no trouble down there, as long as people are dying outside the reach of cameras, as long as it's Palestinians who die and not the occupiers. So,
this is so funny when motherfuckers be like, I know it's objectively cowardly to backtrack. Okay, you go tell your boss right now that he's facilitating, he's playing a formative role in, I don't know, the Israeli apartheid regime. Like, many people don't realize that the dynamic is, when you're a public figure, the dynamic is obviously different. You have to play a balanced role, okay? You have to play a fucking balanced role. Don't say not even the same thing. It is the same thing. It's just like, it's literally the same thing. The reason why you don't say that in your fucking place of work is for the same reasons why they had to fucking back down. You know what I mean? And that is when they, as artists, they have a lot more leeway, but there's still artists who are in the UK at the end of the day, or go to the UK at the end of the day. And it was like some of the fucking Irish, some of the Irish politicians were even coming after them, which was crazy. A grifter. As an Arab living in the Middle East, I think condemning Hamas is an important distinction that should be made. I know a distressingly large number of Arabs that support Hamas because they harm Jews. Yeah, okay, dude. I'm sure that's the reason. Yeah. What do you mean, what? Like, this is such a stupid fucking position to have, the grifter. I mean, I'm sure some people like them because they themselves are anti-Semitic. There's people in America that like Palestinian resistance because they are, like, the people that are supporting it are anti-Semitic themselves. They don't give a shit about Israel generally. They don't really give a shit about the Palestinians generally. They just care about, like, shitting on Jews. But having said that, the notion that, like, people support the Palestinian resistance across the board, they do so because they're anti-Semitic and, like, these guys are harming Jews is so fucking stupid. I would want to know if people around me like terrorists or care about Palestinians. Brother, are you new here? What's going on? Are you okay? There's a guy for everything. I know. Listen, you don't have to love Hamas. You don't have to want to hug and kiss Hamas. The reality of the matter is you have to recognize that they are the only game in town due to an unlimited amount of bombing and assassinations that the Israeli state has engaged in over the course of the past 76 years of its fucking occupation. Okay? What do you mean? Oh, do people love terrorists? Or do people care about Palestinians? Like, what? In the eyes of Israel, everyone is Hamas. Every baby that gets killed in a bombing campaign is Hamas. It does not fucking matter. They do not make this distinction. I don't know why you think you're making this distinction. There is no real fucking distinction here. Arab card revoked. Yeah.
This incredible tragedy.
Like, people, for the record, people do go above and beyond. You know what I mean? People do go above and beyond. Like, you're in the Western world. Calm down. Okay? I say this all the time. Like, you live in the Western world. Calm the fuck down. You know, you're getting horny. Sometimes I hear, like when Palestinians are coming out and protesting, right? Many of them are protesting against the apartheid. Every single one of them is still saying, like, you know, Israel is the number one villain here. But, like, some are protesting against Hamas. People are like, oh, how dare these guys protest against Hamas? It's like, well, you're a white guy living in the West, okay? Those guys, on the other hand, have to live there. Obviously, there's going to be discontent in the process. Like, it's just, I don't give a shit about who is running Palestine. I give a shit about ending the occupation, okay? I want Palestinians to have autonomy. I want Palestinians to have sovereignty. That's my argument. Okay. I'm not like, oh, it has to be Hamas. Having said that, like, there has been a lot of the concessions that Hamas has made as the leading figurehead in the resistance movement, in the militancy. They have said that they would remove themselves from power and allow for democracy to take place in Palestine. It's not like a thing that they are opposed to. So, you know, I agree with that position. So that's what I want. I want an end to the occupation. I want an end to the apartheid. I want there to be a single solitary state in the future, hopefully with equal rights and equal representation, a Truth and Reconciliation Committee to be set up where war criminals are punished, where reparations are offered, where there's a right to return for Palestinians. People say these are pie in the sky ideas, but these are still this is still the morally correct position. You know? You don't like Hamas, then eliminate the actual reason for Hamas to exist, because Hamas is just a name. There's always going to be a militant resistance against an endless amount of violence that is a necessity for the maintenance of an apartheid. You understand? It's perfectly normal for people to say, well, okay, you killed my parents, you killed my cousins, you blew up my school, you blew up my mosque, I'm starving, I'm gonna fucking take up arms against you. That is the most normal position of all time. And it doesn't even matter how old you are at that point. You're like, okay, I can't wait to get older so I can fucking grab weapons and join whatever new formation that exists. Let's say they kill every single person that is in Hamas. Okay, there is gonna be a Hamas too. There's gonna be something else. Just like Hamas wasn't the only game in town initially. It used to be the PLO, which also were secular, and yet they were still branded as terrorists, scary, violent terrorists. I can't believe we're, 17 months in at this point, and people are still confused about this process. It's crazy. It's crazy. I know we're having a serious conversation, but you got that shit on respectfully. Hey, yo, thank you. It is not just Hamas who were invested in the 10-7. Yeah, of course. It was the entirety of the Palestinian militancy, including like former Fatah groups as well. Like they had DFLP, PFLP, Palestinian Islamic Jihad. They had criminal elements that fucking penetrated the barrier as well once it was broken. Like that wasn't just Hamas, Isn't it legal to resist apartheid? I mean, it's not legal according to Israel. It is legal according to international law. It's not legal to kidnap people, though. It's not legal to open fire on civilians. It's not legal to kidnap people. The reality of the matter is, like, a lot of the things that unfolded on October 7 in the hands of the Hamas-led coalition of Palestinian resistance was atrocities. It's true. This is real. That's not, I think saying that is not saying that is not a ridiculous position. It's like saying the Nat Turner rebellion was horrifying, okay? Because it was. But at the end of the day, what do you think about when you think about the abolition of chattel slavery? You think about the abolition of chattel slavery. You think about how horrifying and cruel of a practice it was to literally have slaves. You don't think about the slave rebellions that took place and how violent that rebellion was. When you think about the Holocaust, you don't turn around and go, the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. Well, you sure killed a bunch of Germans in the process. How dare you? No one says that. Everyone thinks about how fucking horrifying the Holocaust was, because everybody understands in the rearview mirror that violence begets violence, and that the more violent a process becomes, the more violent a process becomes in terms of the justifications for an apartheid, the regular daily maintenance of said apartheid, the more violent that resistance is going to look like. That's it. And it's crazy because, like, people, when you say this, people go, nah, that's fucked up. Unacceptable. Unacceptable, dude. What is this? Isn't the UK law super strict with things like terrorism too? Didn't a guy get arrested for dressing his pug like Hitler? Dude, I need you guys to understand something here. Western liberalism is dead. Okay? Western liberal democracy as a project was already a theoretical one regardless, but it is totally fucking dead. I'll give you a great example of this, okay? What is the heart of Western liberal democracy? The major defenders of Western liberal democracy. It's post-Nazi Germany, right? Let me tell you what the German courts have done. The German courts, if you remember, there was I'll show you. The Ausländer aus. A while back, there was a court case in the German courts because there was a video where a bunch of wealthy German libs were singing an AfD song that is a neo-Nazi song, basically saying foreigners out, Germany for Germans. Do we have the video? Does anyone have that video? Remember? It's very catchy. It's really fucking annoying. Whenever I hear it, I just like it gets stuck in my head. But basically, they were singing like foreigners out, Germany for Germans. Now, in Germany, that is illegal. That is just straightforwardly illegal. Okay? La mort de jeurs. Okay. Yeah. So this is a neo-Nazi slogan from the AfD party. And this is, people were singing it. And it was shocking for a lot of people in Germany because these were actually liberals singing it. Because previously, the AfD was like formerly working class people, poor people, the Lumpenproles and whatnot. Liberals, for the most part, rich liberals, especially in Germany, were not entertaining these sorts of things, right? They were not entertaining these sorts of things, especially not in this wealthy, here it is. Not in this like wealthy enclave where the children of German elite society were entertaining such reactionary neo-Nazi perspectives. So this video actually went super viral and Germany freaked the fuck out over this. Like this guy's literally doing the mustache and the fucking hand. You know what I mean? He was going full Hitler, okay? This is beyond what Elon did. You know what I mean? He even did the mustache. Like, what are we doing? Right? And so this was tried in the courts because it's like heavily illegal. And there was, I believe, a person that actually lost their job because they were working with a politician as well. And so this was like shocking. This shocked Germany to the core because, yeah, these are rich kids on the island of Silt. Only rich people go there on holidays, mostly Germans. So that was what was so unique about it. All of a sudden, it's not just like a Berlin working class German attitude where the AfD is now getting a lot of play out of like these wealthy societal elites. Holy shit, right? The first girl that was in the video lost her job. She was working for a politician, I believe. In any case, the German courts prosecuted this to the full extent of the law, except in that prosecution, they found out that this is actually fine. Now, the same German courts a week prior successfully prosecuted another German for holding up a sign at a pro-Palestinian rally. So Germany now uses their hate speech statute that was specifically designed to be anti-Nazi, right? Germany is now using that hate speech statute against pro-Palestinian demonstrators. That they've been using it against them over and over again. And the reason why this person got prosecuted, I need you to understand, it's so fucked up. The reason why this person got prosecuted was because he had a banner that said, "Have we learned nothing from the Holocaust?" That, to me, demonstrates the utter depravity, the double standard of Western liberal democracies, how willing they are to utilize their supposed liberal anti-hate speech statutes exclusively to squash political opposition when people are making the correct point. Here it is. Here's James Jackson. Breaking: a pro-Palestine activist was convicted in Berlin for incitement to racial hatred for asking, haven't we learned nothing from the Holocaust? This was successfully prosecuted in the German courts. I said, actively trying to manage the unfavorability of an apartheid state that's doing a live stream child Holocaust has collapsed the already limited credibility the West had about defending liberal democratic values. This is always the same principle. Kneecap can't say up Hamas, up Hezbollah in a concert 2 years ago, or open up a banner that says fuck Israel, free Palestine, without getting a counterterrorism suit launched against them. But pro-Israel people can literally wear an IDF dog tag, prominently display it, Talk about how Arabs deserve less. Talk about how Arabs deserve death. Talk about how Arabs deserve the genocide. Admit that Israel is doing a genocide only if you're defending that Israel is doing said genocide. And none of that is an issue. This is the dual standard. This is the double standard prominently in display because Israel is the client state here. Israel gets to do whatever the fuck it wants. That's it. There's no way to get around this. It's very obvious. It's very obvious that these guys are willing to throw away everything, and even the aesthetics of caring about liberal values, specifically to defend Israel's genocide of the Palestinians. Okay? When you have this much motion, are you really the client state? Yes. Yes. They still very much are the client state. Hassan on me. Thank you for the 20 gifted subs. Here. A demonstrator was convicted of incitement to hatred by a Berlin district court for her protest sign, "Have we learned nothing from the Holocaust?" Because she allegedly trivialized the Holocaust by expressing fear for the innocent civilians in Gaza, she must pay a 1,600 euro fine. It is as absurd as it sounds. The mere question of whether we should pursue responsibility for never again genocide, while a genocide is being committed with German support, is supposed to constitute a criminal offense, complete insanity. But the insanity doesn't stop there because that same German court, like the same German judicial system, justice system, unironically let the previous incident go. They found it permissible. They found it permissible for these rich liberal kids to fucking sing Ausländer raus, the AfD slogan, foreigners out. That is allowed, okay? That is allowed in Germany. That's not a hate speech. That's not triggering hate speech. Ironically enough, the hate speech statute was directly created for that purpose. It was directly created for that purpose. So that Germans don't fucking start chirping about being Nazis. I'm trying to find the article from James Jackson, who covers, a lot of what's going on in German news. So, never mind. Here it is. A second sign read, "No to the murder of 8,500 civilians currently in Gaza. Between the time of the protests and the condemnation, the number of Palestinians killed in Gaza increased by 700%. So let me answer this question. No, we clearly learned little to nothing from the Holocaust, and certainly not the right things. But what's the latest? I want to see. I want to see the. Yeah, here it is. What is this? German island to end ritual of spanking women with cow horn. Okay, chatter. Just show me the latest on the fucking other court case for these guys, okay? The Germany investigates foreigners out chants at the village festival in Slit. Just to give the full picture, the court said that singing this alone is not enough to get prosecuted, but the guy making the mustache and hand sign will be. Incredible. Oh, here it is. Investigations into the Slit scandal video concluded. Encampment on the island of Slit, partygoers shouted racist slogans. The video from 2024 caused outrage nationwide. Now the public prosecutor's office has closed the investigation against 3 people, and a penal order has been issued against 1 man. So, or Sult, not Slit. Okay, sorry. Sult. Yeah. There it is. They don't consider singing Rausländer raus to be a serious thing, but they have all the interest in prosecuting this. Have we learned nothing from the Holocaust? Understand, this double standard exists in every facet of Western, in every facet of these supposed theoretical liberal capitalist Western democracies. So that is the situation that is in front of us. So, of course, public figures make public figures oftentimes will find themselves on this tightrope. The reason why I covered all of this is because Kneecap came out with a statement being like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for Hamas," or whatever the fuck they said. I don't know what it was. Hold on, let me see. And everyone is now dunking on them. What was the statement initially? They've had their they've had basically like their visa taken away in America. They can't tour the United States anymore, most likely, even though they have a sold out tour in the US that's supposed to happen in the fall. They got a counterterrorism investigation launched against them. All of this started because of the Coachella set that I live streamed for them, by the way. Their Berlin show got canceled forcibly by the government. It's fucking insane, dude. It is fucking insane. So your haters saw it and reported them? No, it's not my haters, dude. Are you kidding me? It's fucking like, bro, Ozzy Osbourne's wife was involved in this. Are you kidding me? They were writing articles everywhere, dude. These guys were freaking the fuck out. They're like, I can't believe that they would make a political statement as a political music group. I can't believe they made a political statement. Listen, the reality of the matter is that, yeah, you say fuck Israel, free Palestine, they're gonna be up your asshole, okay? They're gonna demand you get fucking fired. One speed, baby. One speed, okay? Israel defenders have one fucking speed. And the more desperate they get, the more aggressive they get with their silencing of any sort of criticism against Israel. It is what it is. This is part of the reason why I will always use my platform, as long as I have one, to speak the truth. Kneecap statement. They want you to believe words are more harmful than genocide. Establishment figures desperate to silence us have combed through hundreds of hours of footage and interviews, extracting a handful of words from months or years ago to manufacture moral hysteria. Let's be unequivocal. We do not and have never supported Hamas or Hezbollah. We condemn all attacks on civilians always. It is never okay. We know this more than anyone given our nation's history. We also reject any suggestion that we would seek to incite violence against an MP or individual ever. And an extract of footage deliberately taken out of context is now being exploited and weaponized as if it were a call for action. This distortion is not only absurd, it is a transparent effort to derail the real conversation. All 2 million Palestinian people in Gaza are currently being starved to death by Israel. At least 20,000 children in Gaza have been killed. The British government continues to supply arms to Israel, even after scores of NHS doctors warned Keir Starmer, kid starver, in August that children were being systematically executed with sniper shots to the head. What is this? You need to address this. Kaya, after saying slurs into the mic, I would never do that. Also, when she says slurs, she says it in Chinese because she's Chinese. Instead of defending innocent people or the principles of international law, the powerful in Britain have abetted slaughter and famine. This is where real anger and outrage should be directed towards. To the MS and Cox families who sent our heartfelt apologies. We never intended to cause you hurt. I don't know what this is. Are these like hostage families or something? Is that what it is? What is the MS and Cox families? I don't even know what that one is. Does anyone know in the chat? Oh, families of murdered MPs, UK MPs who were assassinated. That never happened. And if it did, it was Chinese. Yeah. Joe Cox was an MP killed by a far-right psycho. Kneecap's message has always been and remains one of love, inclusion, and hope. This is why our music resonates across generations, countries, classes, and cultures, and has brought hundreds of thousands of people to our gigs. No smear campaign will change that. Suddenly, days after calling the U.S. administration at Coachella to applause and solidarity, there's an avalanche of outrage and condemnation by the political classes of Britain. The real crimes are not in our performances. The real crimes are the silence and complicity of those in power. Yeah. I mean, it's a decent statement. I understand why they said what they said. You know? What is this? Irish band Kneecap have apologized to the families of murdered MPs after footage emerged of one of its members appearing to say, kill your local MP. Kneecap allegedly said a good Tory is a dead Tory. I guess they're apologizing for that. Yeah, I mean, I get why they would have to apologize for that. Come on. I mean, dude, I didn't even say that and people still yelled at me and I apologized. Like when I said that if the Republican Party was serious about combating Medicare fraud, that they would, penalize their own ranks. Rick Scott. Harvard promises changes after reports on anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. The two reports, which run hundreds of pages, come at a difficult time for the university, which is suing the Trump administration over federal funding cuts. Bro is playing with us? What do you mean? It's crazy world as regimes and countries and international organizations approve Israel as a genocidal state and apartheid state and now being judged at the highest Supreme Court and their genocide is streamed live. But how can these students or a music band say this is insane? I know. I think it's fucking ridiculous. And I think it is utterly depraved that we are having these sorts of conversations. It's all fucking hysteria being ramped up. But that is precisely the reason why you have to be very careful in your advocacy, no matter what. And I, as someone who is pretty fucking careful in my advocacy, still literally routinely get fucking yelled at for being the number one Hassan Nasrallah supporter. They will say that I am Hassan Nasrallah. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, whatever. I don't give a shit. Say whatever the fuck you want. Who cares? You know, it's not going to change the reality. It's not going to magically make people go, oh, you know what? This baby murder is appropriate, actually. Thank you for doing all of the unlimited child Holocaust, Israel. That was fantastic. You know, that's it. I'm super careful, and it doesn't matter. It still doesn't matter. People still go fucking nutty mode over it. Okay? You were featured in another Sky News Australia Lefties Are Losing It segment? No way. This dude. Wait, what did Sky News Australia post me on? Oh, I love that. I love when Sky News Australia posts me. I love when I make it to the most honest and the most objective name in news. Sky News Australia. Why don't you say going bananas anymore? Because I don't go bananas anymore.
It's time for Lefties.
Lefties losing it! Arr! Lefties losing it!
Now, if the left didn't have double standards, that have no standards at all. And here is another prime example. This is
Wait,
Andrew
where is it? Where did was I in here? Like over here?
Maggie is in a box, a song about the late, great Margaret Thatcher.
Oh, no, not the song about the late, great Margaret Thatcher. Fucking hell. How dare you? Oh, they posted... Yo, let's go. Left Media continues to push Trump lies. By the way, Sky News Australia is like Fox News on steroids. Ironically owned by the same guy that owns Fox News, for the record, Rupert Murdoch, who is Australian, and this is his like main channel. This is Australian Fox News. So if you see like American libtards, American liberals who claim to be like progressive or whatever, championing this video, which they will because they're fucking stupid and they have no principles, they have no perspectives whatsoever, they have no interest in learning the truth, they will use this truly, utterly depraved, evil channel as a way to be like, see, even Australian Sky News knows the truth about Hassan. And let me tell you, it's because they're fucking stupid. But I, on the other hand, welcome the hatred from Sky News Australia. Let's go. Ooh, this is exciting. I didn't even realize they were doing it. The lefties losing it.
Watch a lot of Donald Trump coverage over the years. I've seen him give many speeches. I've seen him give many White House Oval Office interviews. I genuinely, as someone who pays actually fairly close attention to men's sartorial choices when they are in high positions, I actually genuinely struggle to think of a single instance when Donald Trump is actually wearing a black suit. I'm genuinely like thinking out loud here with you in real time here. I feel like the guy's always wearing a blue suit. I mean, Trump's go-to look. Anyone and
okay, blue suit. Like, he's always wearing a blue suit. Whatever.
It has an impact, particularly outside of the US, because the US, you do have a bit more diversity in the media, not as much as you would like to see, but there is counter narratives that are actually correcting some of this fake news. But in Australia and elsewhere in the world, it's almost all...
I love her. She's so fucking stupid. I love her. Remember, this is the one that was like, oh no, lefties losing it. When the Australian pro-Palestinian Hasanabi came up to me and was like, oh no, don't drink Coke. Before Coke was on the BDS list. Because as you guys know, once it made it onto the official Palestinian National Committee BDS list, I stopped drinking Coke. Hassan, I'm doing a linguistics project on content creators and pro-Palestinian content. Would you have time to do a survey at some point? If not, no worries. Probably not. All right.
All we get is just this relentless negative stuff, whether it's serious issues or trivial, like the colour of his suit at a funeral. Before you go, I want to get your opinion on this remarkable New York Times fluff piece that they've done on a character called Hassan Piker, a character they describe as a progressive mind in a MAGA body, because he works out. Apparently that makes him a MAGA body, but he's as bad as MAGA as I'm blonde. What he is, Josh, is virulent.
Remember, they are mad because they like MAGA, okay? Something that, because when you first see this, you're like, they're Australian. You don't understand. This is Sky News. You think maybe it's objective. No. Remember, this is like Australian Fox News. So, like, she's mad because the New York Times is doing a puff piece on a terrorist, myself, right? A fawning puff piece on a terrorist. And she's mad because MAGA is a good thing and they're comparing me to a good thing. And that's what's fucked up.
Anti-Israel.
Any kind of Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way as being a rabid neo-Nazi. And you shouldn't even let someone be the local dog catcher as as Felix was posting, if they've ever exhibited any sort of like positive feelings about the state of Israel. I'm so serious about this. Yeah. I mean, yeah. What's the problem? Yeah. If you are pro-Israel, okay, and you're a politician and you're pro-Israel, then yeah, it's no different to me than being fucking pro-Nazi Germany or pro-apartheid South Africa. What's the problem? What? You got an issue with that? What's the difference? Yeah, no, I love when they post things that I actually do mean rather than post shit out of context, because it triggers the autism in my brain where I'm like, no, you don't understand. You're misunderstanding me. It annoys me to no end. If you post, like when Fox News wrote that article about me, if you remember, when they were like, Hassan wants 9/11 to happen, I was annoyed because that's not what my statement was at all. But in that article, they also post some of the things that I say all the time and are objectively correct. Like when they said, when they posted about how I had said that like Israel is a far more evil entity than Hamas ever could be. When you post that and you get mad about that or whatever, I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? Like, that's okay, because that is my statement. And it's also objectively true. Like, try to address the argument instead of fucking complaining about it, you know? But I hate it when they clip chimp and then they go, oh my God, like he said he loves when Palestinians are doing mass rapes or some shit. It's like, no, I never said that. You're a fucking freak. Anyway, awesome.
Josh, he has a hugely popular show on Twitch where he unashamedly praises Houthi terrorists.
Art! Thank you for the 20 community gifted subs. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Spreads all sorts of Hamas propaganda. And now he's getting fluff pieces in the New York Times. What is going on?
Is the New York Times pro-Hamas? Is the New York Times pro-Hamas? What's going on? Why are they pro-Hamas? Hassan Piker of Twitch. He's a lover of Houthis. He's a lover of Hamas. Oh, this is so awesome. Australia is such a fake country. I'm sorry that, like, when she's trying to be serious, it's impossible to take them seriously with that. That lady sounds like that, and she's trying to be, you know, dignified and serious and talk about the severity of the crisis at hand. You know what I mean? Also, this is pretty cool too. They just keep posting sexy ass photos of me. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Look at this. Look at this sexy terrorist. He loves Hamas. He's hot. He's a hot dude. Stupid and sexy and pro-Hamas. Oh, fucking awesome. Oh, I love this.
Going on?
Well, I think what's going on is exactly what it looks like, which is that someone who has literally made a name for himself as an apologist for Hamas, Houthis, Hezbollah, various other U.S. recognized foreign terrorist organizations. I mean, this is the guy who is now getting, you know, the page A1 full spread treatment from the New York Times, an organization.
He's like, why won't they write about me? I don't like it. Can you sue them for slander? What? Why would I fucking do that? What are you talking about, dude? Like, people being like, oh, I can't believe he's doing apologia for Hamas. Okay, dude. Yeah, sure. Who cares? Suck my dick. Okay. Ironically enough, I don't make any apologies for Hamas. I do actually call out things that I think are violent, things that I believe are atrocious. As a matter of fact, significantly more than pro-Israel people do on their side. Okay. I also do understand who the real the real villains are in this story. And that is and always will be Israel until they abolish the apartheid, of course, until they end the occupation. They do the same thing they do in the U.S., says it's entertainment, not news. Yeah, also, I don't care about, you know, this is awesome. Yeah. Suing is soy. You care more about the prison colony than your neighbor to the north, L? Okay, stop.
That was probably best known for burying coverage of the Holocaust back towards the back of the paper for 3, 4, 5 years during World War II. The New York Times has a long and deeply inglorious track record.
I would say that the New York Times, First of all, burying the coverage of the Holocaust for 5 years is crazy during World War II. Like, I don't know if they were, that tuned in to the death camps that were taking place, but there is a live streamed Holocaust happening right now, and they do unironically bury the coverage of the live streamed Holocaust. So yeah, it's, if anything, in the argument that you're presenting, New York Times being consistent. They're like, we don't care. As long as it's state-sponsored violence, like, we're on board with it, okay? And we will do our very best to defend it. Barry Weiss, peace on you. He also calls Jews inbred, says doesn't matter if rape occurred on October 7th, and argues that Zionists should be treated like neo-Nazis. Essential by Rights Code and FP. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Oh, here we go. Crosshairs are back on me, baby. Let's go. Playing the fucking hits. Yeah. It's funny how the New York Times is a problem to them now that you're on it. No, they love shitting on the New York Times. They don't think New York Times is pro-Israel enough, which is crazy. Fine, Barry. I do want to read this. The handsome face of terror apologia. That's awesome. Once again, proving what I said, which is all of my haters can pick apart every single thing, but then they still call me handsome. What is this? What is this? What is going on, bro? Hello, baby. Hello, baby. Hello, baby. Ay, 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 ay. Oh, this is so funny. As a Jewish viewer, I can't believe it. I mean, Barry Weiss this is her whole shtick, so it's not surprising. The Islamophobia is so blatant in their photo choices. I mean, who cares? This is a fucking hot-ass photo. I don't give a shit. Tom Piker has been called a model for the future of progressive media. He also calls Jews inbred and says Zionists should be treated like neo-Nazis. On Sunday, the New York Times ran a balancing profile on an online influencer who's made millions telling Gen Z that socialism rocks. His name is Hasanabi Piker, and he has 2.8 million followers on the live stream platform Twitch, where he broadcasts live from his West Hollywood home for 8 hours every day, commenting on everything from the latest Supreme Court ruling to his workout regimen. The Times headline initially described him as a progressive mind and a MAGA body. It later changed to a progressive mind and a body made for the manosphere, and spilled much ink analyzing his sex appeal. A lot of people, I think, also are forgetting that the article was on the style section. It's on the style section. I don't know why they're upset about that. Buried in the prose, the passing acknowledgement of a far darker side of Hassan Piker's appeal. His diatribes against the Zionist movement have led many supporters of Israel to call Mr. Piker anti-Semitic, the Times observes. And then it quotes Piker's response to the allegation. I find the conflation of anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism to be very dangerous. Before moving swiftly onto Piker's use of expletives and vulgarities. What exactly are Piker's diatribes against the Zionist movement? The glowing Times profile doesn't say. Perhaps readers will conclude he's simply fierce in his criticism of the current Israeli government. I am. That is not at all the case, because Piker records up to 10 hours a day and has done so for 5 years. It's hard to paint a comprehensive picture of his views, but even a cursory look at his work reveals a person who dismisses violence against Israelis, celebrates Islamist terrorists, and advocates for treating pro-Israel Americans as neo-Nazis. Doesn't matter if rapes happened on October 7th, Piker said, while live streaming. It doesn't change the dynamic for me. Apparently, not even the most brutal, inhumane crimes committed during Hamas' October 7th invasion of Israel could justify the Israeli military response, which he repeatedly refers to as an ethnic cleansing campaign. Oh, that's awesome. Oh my God. Oh my God. Amazing. They accidentally also showcased the framework. It's out of context, but they also, in their endless desire to present me as someone who is against Israel's ethnic cleansing campaign, have accidentally added on the actual point that I was making, which is that even if there were rapes that took place on October 7, okay, this does not justify genocide against the entirety of the Palestinian population. That is a perfectly normal take. R.M. Brown talked about you a lot yesterday. Wait, what? Who's R.M. Brown? Anyway, just this week, he claimed on Twitch that in a totally just world, regardless of your background, any kind of fucking Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way as being a fucking rabid neo-Nazi. The vast majority of Jews identify as Zionists. He went on, you shouldn't even let someone be a fucking local dog catcher if they have exhibited any sort of... Okay, first of all, I gave credit to Felix, friend of the show, Felix Biederman, for this. I feel like it's fucked up that they took that context out, because I didn't come up with that, okay? I did not come up with that. Felix did, which I was giving credit to, and it's kind of messed up that you're taking away his credit. That's really fucked up, Barry. Don't do that. If they have exhibited any sort of positive feelings for the state of Israel. At the same time, Piker implies that acts of violence committed by Islamists are justified. On November 29, 2023, he described the attacks of October 7 as a retaliation for an ongoing apartheid. Again, thank you for posting that, because it is correct. It is a retaliation for the ongoing apartheid. That is precisely what happened here. Piker doesn't only justify terrorism, sometimes he glorifies it. On December 20th, Piker played a Hamas propaganda video on his live stream audience of 25,000. In it, dramatic music plays a member of terrorist group forge and demo guns. Title card reads, "We will continue to kill your soldiers by our locally manufactured snipers." Piker reads it out loud and then says, "Wow, there's a little message for the Americans out there as well." On January 2024, Houthi pirates seized a commercial ship in the Red Sea and took the crew hostage. Among the rebels was a 19... That's not true! This is fake. Rashid al-Haddad was not one of the rebels that overtook the commercial ship in the Red Sea. This is again, incredibly fucking annoying. Why is it incredibly annoying? Because I don't mind interviewing a fucking Houthi rebel, okay? I would interview a Houthi rebel, but he's not. So I hate that these guys always say he's a Houthi guy. He's a Houthi rebel. And it's not like no real outlet has referred to Rashid al-Haddad, whose last name is al-Haddad, not al-Houthi, by the way. Okay? Important. Most likely Sunni and not a Zaidi Shia regardless. Again, not a part of the Houthi family, not a part of the al-Houthi family, and not a part of the Ansar Allah militancy regardless. But even if he was, I would still interview him. I thought he was initially. Not even Fox News has actually called him a Houthi, for the record. Time to interview an actual Houthi guy to fix this. Yeah, they're too busy. They probably hate me now because of Jackson Hinkle. Al-Haddad later denied affiliation with the Houthis. Piker tracked down Al-Haddad via social media and interviewed on a stream with the help of a translator. In the interview, Piker compared Al-Haddad to a pirate hero from the popular anime called One Piece. In a later stream on October 14, 2024, Piker likened Al-Haddad, who grew up in Yemen, to a victim of the Holocaust. For the most of his life, he's withstood genocide, Piker said, before saying that speaking to Al-Haddad was like talking to fucking Anne Frank, basically. Later, in a now deleted, Al-Haddad posted an image of a man impaled in the stake of the capture, the execution that will carry out on all Zionists. On September 28, 2024, Piker shared what he called a music video, which was actually Houthi propaganda clip. In it, this is another instance where it's like, I don't mind showing these fucking music videos. I've shown these music videos. I've shown music videos of all fucking forms of militancy. We've literally fucking looked at ISIS videos as well on this broadcast. It's now become a problem, so I can't do it, but it's the only fucking website. This is the only website where they have a rigorous application of the terms of service. I do not have a issue looking at this music video, okay? I don't. I look at the American military's music videos all the fucking time, all right? It's all right. You can make fun of music videos that, like actual terror groups, not even like resistance against Israel. I'm talking, yes, and you support ISIS? No, I don't. That's my point. I don't support the American militancy either. That's the whole point. I don't support Al-Qaeda. I don't support ISIS. I don't support the fucking Assad regime. But, you know, Allah Surya Assad is a fucking, what used to be a prominent fixture, right? Anyway. No one shits on Louis Theroux for interviewing Nazis. What on earth is wrong with these people? It's precisely because this person is not a Nazi that they are upset about it. That's the whole point. On September 28, 2024, Piker shared what he called a music video, which was actually a Houthi propaganda clip. In it, gun-toting Islamists sing a rallying cry to defeat the masses of infidels. They march over a burning American and Israeli flags and wave banners and blazon the Houthi credo, which translates to God is great, death to America, death to Israel, damn the Jews, victory to Islam. When the beat drops, it's like jihad drops in your heart, Piker said to an audience. Wait, why would they post that in all sincerity? Dude, damn, that was fucking, I was funny as shit, dude. Sometimes I'm really funny, okay? I impress myself, okay? Listen, if no one's gonna laugh at my jokes, I'll laugh at my jokes. I don't give a fuck. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, that is amazing. Wait, I gotta post this. Piker said to an audience of the Houthis, he said, they're a very musical people. This is fucking hilarious. Oh my God. I'm posting it. I like that. When the beat drops, it's like jihad drops in your heart. Bro, it's so lit. Whenever I'm watching ISIS beheading videos and you show up, yeah, dude, I'm in the ISIS beheading videos. I'm a part of it. Would you interview a Zionist settler colonist? Yes, I would. It would be a contentious one. How would they feel if you interviewed a Kahanis who would espouse the views we saw throughout the Thoreau documentary? They would still call me an anti-Semite, as they're calling Louis Theroux an anti-Semite now. And why are they calling him an anti-Semite? Because he interviewed some of the most rabid psychopaths. Like, that's what it is. That's what it is. That's the whole point. Yeah, if you show Israeli settlers behaving in the normal ways that they behave, and let them talk, you're an anti-Semite. How dare you? Piker is stratospherically popular among Gen Z. The year that Hamas invaded Israel, Piker was the fourth most watched American on Twitch, where 41% of users are between 16 and 24 years old. But his influence reaches far beyond the platform. Many of his live streams are clipped, recut, and soared to virality on other social media platforms, including YouTube, TikTok, and X. Where the Times gets it right is an assertion that the 33-year-old influencer is perceived as a savior of American progressivism. In an era where Democrats seem at a loss to counter the broy populism of the MAGA right, Piker used MAGA-coded activities of weightlifting and trips to the gun range. Ugh, I hate that. It is not MAGA-coded. Ugh, to make socialist politics hip, courting an audience of young and very online men who have been drifting right. Yeah, God forbid I do that. God forbid I fucking pull young men away from the reactionary right-wing attitudes. Oh, man. Oh, man, how devastating. Remember, the Free Press is a right-wing institution. So, of course, when you read this, when you read that, you go, what's the problem there? When the Free Press audience reads that, they go, oh, my God, that's really fucked up. We got to stop this guy. So remember, the things that you consider to be good and I consider to be good, they consider to be bad. The AOC of Twitch, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, being one of the only other Democrats to successfully wield social media and a model for the future of progressive media. In the past year alone, he's appeared on the DNC, as well as the left's favorite podcast, Pod Save America, and the tour center Bernie Sanders and AOC herself. He's also done an interview with Jon Stewart for The Daily Show, set to release in mid-May. That's not true. I didn't do an interview with Jon Stewart. What? They posted this? I'm on a... Wait. No, I didn't... God, these guys are so... Like, this is such a bad fucking... God, they are so bad at journalism. How fucking bad. I never said I'm getting interviewed by Jon Stewart. It's Jordan Klepper. Why don't you just post my post with Jordan Klepper? Why are you... Oh, God. He's also done an interview with Jon Stewart for The Daily Show. It's not correct. Oh, it's such bad journalism. Who wrote this garbage? They shouldn't have a job. I mean, I don't care. I love it. One of the Democrat strategists keen to get Piker more involved in the party was Brianna Wu in the run-up to last year's presidential election. Oh, this is a Zionist who's who, by the way. It was her job to reach out young voters, and she saw how Piker connected with them. So she began brainstorming on how to ways to get him plugged in with Democratic campaigns. But her enthusiasm for Piker quickly faded when she saw him broadcast terrorist propaganda on his Twitch live stream. The more you understand about what he's actually saying, she told the Free Press, you realize he's actually terrible for the country. Yeah, except her fucking organization still sucked my dick to the very last end, and I refused to work with the organization because that dumbass Brianna Wu was leading the fucking charge. So just remember, when these guys are lying like this, okay, it is I who said I will not work with Progressive Victory. And it was almost entirely because of Brianna Wu and her involvement, because I was like, she has terrible instincts. She's fucking absolute dog shit. And she is perhaps the stupidest Hosberist out there. No, there was a point where she liked me. But then she got, as a 50-year-old lady, she got brain broken into being pro-Israel by a very notorious sex pest who she also actively worked with Progressive Victory. That's right. I'm talking about sex pestiny. Yes, post-October 7, Brianna Wu developed a new version of herself where she decided to be pro-Israel. That gave us a lot of wonderful moments, like when she said the Houthis. He is part of this push to brainwash America's young people into thinking the enemies of democracy are actually our friends, Wu said. If you're asking yourself who's talking to your children on the left, it's Hassan and Hassan's orbiters, which is fairly terrifying. In Piker's Reddit community, fans admit that Hassan has radicalized them, brag about convincing family members that Israel's committing a genocide in Gaza. Why? This is a puff piece that is unironically better than the New York Times' puff piece. Because the New York Times cannot fucking openly say the things that I'm saying because their editorial team's position is different, right? So they have to say Hassan Piker accuses Israel of doing a genocide. These guys will posterize my fucking dubs actively because they know that their audience already has that mentality. It's the same with Fox News, right? Many young people seem to draw their rhetoric directly from Piker and the militant anti-Zionism he constantly promotes on his channel. Take the word inbred, which anti-Israel activists have repeatedly used on college campuses to refer to their Jewish peers during the heated confrontations. Piker first referred to Israelis as inbred in March of 2024. Just 1 month later, first instance of use of Jewish students being called inbred at a pro-Palestine campus protest was recorded. By the way, I might actually go like the free press has a lot of motion among some of the most insane right-wing billionaires. Like, this is Peter Thiel's institution and stuff. So this kind of article, this kind of posting is somewhat dangerous in terms of like getting me in front of the crosshairs of the federal government. Like, remember, Barry Weiss was able to get a famous Palestinian academic assassinated in Gaza alongside his entire family. Refat, rest in power. So, you know, they do have a lot more motion with the government. So, and as you know, Donald Trump does love sucking up to any kind of pro-Israeli group out there. So who knows? Hold on. Let me get apolitical real quick. Does this warrant legal action? No, not at all. Just 1 month later, the first instance of Jewish students being called inbred at a pro-Palestine Columbia University told a group of Jewish students, "You guys are all inbred." Following the Columbia incident, Piker showed a news clip to his live stream of the two Jewish students recalling hateful remarks on air, which he burst into laughter. I mean, that's awesome. Wait, is this it?
Mob started chasing us, calling us in the middle of campus, calling us inbred, that we have no culture. One of them grabbed my friend's Israeli flag in the middle of campus, carried it to a mob by the gate that were communicating with the angry mobs outside of campus. They threw hard objects at him. They started harassing him. They tried to light his flag on fire, and nothing is done with this. And after that, on the way out, we were talking to public.
Wait. Oh my God. They literally, the URL, they got this directly from the Sex Pest. Ain't no way. They're straight sourcing from the fucking Sex Pest's own goddamn website. Oh, hell nah. Oh, that's awesome. You're laughing. He's distressed and you're laughing, Hank. I know. Well, you know, excuse me, sir. Who do you think convinced him to write this article, dog? I mean, it's awesome. I don't have issues with this article.
And public safety just shrugged their shoulders.
Isn't it funny how anytime someone's interviewed about how violent these protesters are, there's always someone who almost was hurt? Yeah. Wait, great. They even posted that point. Oh, that's awesome. Bro, this isn't even evidence that it happened. It's a random guy on TV doing the classic, trust me, bro. No, I know. No, they're not even saying it happened. They're saying it almost happened, and it was scary. You weren't there for the backpack theft in Michigan? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm an apolitical streamer. Piker himself is aware of his influence on young people. In November, he posted a news article that rise in pro-Hamas sentiment among Jewish American teenagers in his Discord server with the comments, "I did this." Oh, I thought I actually posted this on Twitter. 1/3 of Jewish American teens say they sympathize with Hamas. Israeli government poll shows. How did Piker build such a massive following? Born in New Brunswick, New Jersey, grew up in Turkey. His upbringing was Muslim, but he said he doesn't practice their religion. After graduating, he interned at the Young Turks, a left-wing news outlet founded by his uncle, where he launched a breakdown of a web series examining political issues, quickly gained viral fame. In 2018, he started streaming on Twitch, a YouTube-like platform where content creators record themselves reacting live to anything from video games, tournaments, to breaking news. There, Piker soon learned that siding with radical Islam is gaining America was a good way to get a lot of attention. In 2019, he went viral for saying on his Twitch stream that America deserved 9/11. Piker later clarified while the nearly 3,000 innocent people who were murdered on September 11 did not deserve their fate, he believed the CIA's role in the formation of Al-Qaeda made the attack an example of America's chickens coming home to roost. Oh, that's cool. They actually posted the full take. Respect. Why did you make these Jewish American teens anti-Semitic? Hell yeah, baby. Libophonics. You hear that? You got to mention in there. That's me. But also, for the record, I do want to mention something. That part is actually true. Like, this is the major issue for them, okay? The major issue for them is, like, I don't know who made this poll. I don't know how valid this poll is. But, like, the Israeli government's poll, survey shows 66% of Jewish teens in the U.S. say they sympathize with the Palestinian people, right? Like, that is what they're frustrated by. Because Candace Owens, Dan Bilzerian, Andrew Tate, Fed and Fat, like those guys are very clearly anti-Semitic, right? So those guys are not going to be able to penetrate through the Zionist propaganda that is baked into the consciousness of young American Jews and young American Christians as well, but especially young American Jews from an early age, from going to Jewish camp and, you know, learning about how Israel was a land without people for a people without land, and all this kind of like ahistorical, revisionist, pro-Israel propaganda. So, no young Jewish American boy or girl is gonna fucking hear Candace Owens talk about the Talmud and be like, oh my God, this person is actually genuinely against Israel's depravity here. No, of course not. But someone like myself, who has made a name for himself combating anti-Semitism on every fucking platform that I'm on for years and years and years, and still continues to do so, who creates a safe space for Jews in general, especially someone who has a younger audience in general, yeah, I'm a real fucking threat to the project. I'm a real threat to the Zionist project. Much more of a real threat to the Zionist project in terms of causing instability by allowing young Jews to understand the fucking truth in a space that is not anti-Semitic. Do you understand? That is part of the reason why, yeah, of course I have a ton of Jews in this community. Of course. So that is the whole point. Like, that is the reason why this is seen as I am seen as like a big threat. Because if I was anti-Semitic, if I actually was anti-Semitic and cared more about making an argument against Jews in general, instead of constantly attacking the false conflation between Judaism and an apartheid state doing a fucking genocide, then yeah, I wouldn't be as big as a threat, because these guys actually, like, people who care about the Zionist project in general, they want anti-Semitism to increase in the West, because when anti-Semitism increases in the West, you can consistently hammer on the argument that, like, Israel has to be strong. You have to constantly defend Israel. You have to go to Israel. You have to live in Israel. You have to do birthright. Like, that is that plays a major role. That's why I always say the greatest threat to Israel's existence is not Iran, it's not Hezbollah, it's not Hamas. The greatest threat to Israel is Sherman Oaks. The greatest threat to Israel is Beverly Hills. The greatest threat to Israel is Boca Raton. The greatest threat to Israel is Brooklyn, where Jews can live freely and should be able to live freely without any sort of real fear of persecution or prosecution. Do you understand? So yeah, that is the real fear, because if Jews were like, yo, fuck this, I'm out of here, this place sucks, about Israel, and then they fucking moved to the United States of America, then the Zionist project is gone. I'm Jewish and I'm so glad I didn't do birthright. I can't imagine the type of person I'd be today if I did. I mean, not everyone that goes on birthright becomes a rabid Zionist in general. There are plenty of people who did go on birthright and were like, yo, this shit sucks. Sam Cedar is a good example of this. Matt Lieb is another good example of this, right? Adam Friedland is another good example of this. Noah Colwyn. Basically, all of the people that I have collaborated with. There was a point in time when I thought Ethan Klein was a good example of this, and boy, was I wrong. Anyway, Piker soon learned that siding with radical Islamists against America was a good way to get attention. I love this, by the way. Yeah, you know who's really popular in American political discourse? Radical Islamists who are anti-America. What fucking crack are you smoking on? All right. His success on Twitch meant he could quit the Young Turks and stream full-time, which he did beginning January 2020. A 2021 Twitch leak revealed that he earned $2.8 million from streaming between 2019 and 2021. His West Hollywood home is worth $2.7 million, and he drives a Porsche Taycan, which he bought for $200,000. Leased it. Fine. But Piker's rise isn't just a story of a young man. Yeah, I'm fucking caked up. I'm hot and caked up. Thank you for owning me in the marketplace of ideas, by the way. This is also, again, incredibly stupid. But Piker's rise isn't just a story of a young man realizing he can get rich by telling young Americans to hate their country and love their enemies. This is a story of a platform that lets him promote it. 61-year-old Dan Clancy is an apparent fan of Piker. In an interview with Bloomberg in April 2023, Clancy said he appreciates the streamer's frankness and bluntness. He's comfortable saying what he believes, he added. Clancy, who's worked at Twitch since 2019 and served as CEO since the March of 2023, has come under fire for his company's stance on Israel, blah, 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 blah. And then the rest of it is just like all the bullshit that the Diddy Jeers tried to implement and tried to do a adpocalypse, but failed to do. More recently, in October 2024, Democratic Representative Richie Torres wrote an open letter to Clancy. Richie Torres wrote an open letter to Clancy expressing explicit concerns about Twitch's tolerance and extreme anti-Semitic rhetoric. Hassan Piker has emerged as the poster child for the post-October 7th outbreak of anti-Semitism in America, Torres wrote, arguing that the influencer's channel merits scrutiny from federal law enforcement and that the time has come for Twitch to stop popularizing those who popularize anti-Semitism. In an official statement issued 3 days later, Clancy said there is no place on Twitch for racism, hatred, or harassment of any kind, including anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. Piker's account remained live. Yeah, I wonder why. That is because I don't do those things. I actually fight against those things, no matter how much you try to fucking claim I do. Notice how you can't actually fucking pin me down on a moment where I'm saying like Jews do this or Jews do that. That's because I don't believe that. That's because I actively argue against people who say dumb fuck shit like that. A big part of what I do is to tackle people who are misinforming others. It's a giant part of this process. This is 10,000% too much inside baseball to be written by a real journalist. I mean, yeah, this is the free press. This is not a real journalistic outlet, as you guys might have noticed, but it's awesome regardless. A couple of months later, the virtual town hall Clancy hosted. Do you plan on addressing the anti-Semitism problem? Why do you not ban streamers that show terror propaganda? Do you not care to comment about the ADL anti-Semitism? Twitch offered no answers. Each of the accounts that asked these questions were reportedly banned within a minute. In a statement, Clancy said the views shared by streamers on Twitch are not the views of Twitch, nor they are my personal views. But there are those in senior positions at Twitch who have expressed strong anti-Israel sentiment. Then they go after like random fucking people that work at Twitch. This is all Dan Saltman. This is what they did. They like went and they fucking doxed a bunch of people that work at Twitch. It's so funny that the Hasbara operation over at Free Press is just like directly writing this stuff. Again, all of this is like old shit that they're trying to revitalize. It's not going to work. You can't convince me to support genocide. The platform head of community marketing, Mayor Kish, responded to a post on X that said, I'm also saddened that while you rightfully shared the devastation in Gaza multiple times, you didn't once comment on the fact that Hamas literally murdered babies and have over 200 hostages. Kish replied, you can't convince me to support genocide. Wow, I can't believe that a person with a clear conscience said, you can't convince me to support genocide. And Twitch Senior Trust and Safety Manager Fadzai Madzingira enforces policy on violence, extremism, and youth safety. Before working at Twitch, she was fired from her post as Director of Online Safety at Ofcom, UK independent telecom regulator, allegedly for anti-Israel social media activity, including liking an Instagram post which called the United Kingdom's support of Israel a vile colonial alliance. Oh my God, I can't believe that she was fired for being correct. Once again, fired for a correct position. Fired for a correct position that is shared by many, that is shared by the majority, okay? She wasn't fired? Oh, what happened? Did she quit? Ofcom Online Safety Director suspended over anti-Israel posts. I mean, who cares? Okay, suspended, fired. Who gives a shit? Kira Matang, Kish, and Madzingira did not respond to requests for comments. When reached for comment, Clancy advised the Free Press to contact Twitch's press office, who did not respond to a request for comment. Unsatisfied with Twitch's failure to address the rise in anti-Semitism, video creators have used their platforms to raise awareness. YouTuber Willie Mack. Hassan is not anti-Semitic, Mack told the Free Press. But right now, with the current political climate and conditions of problems going on in the world, he's completely okay with harboring that audience and that sentiment. Oh, interesting. Willie Mack. Dan Saltman, a Jewish tech entrepreneur and political YouTuber, disagrees. He believes Hassan Piker is anti-Semitic, and Clancy has his head in the sand about allegations of anti-Semitism on Twitch. Saltman stumbled across Piker's live stream a few years ago and grew concerned about Twitch when he saw, wait, no, that he didn't stumble across my live stream a few years ago. He's just fucking lying. I like that this is the narrative. Dan Diddy Man wrote this to shout out himself and all his friends. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Wait, why don't they get a quote from Sex Pestiny? Yeah, he was on my stream. Dan Saltman grew concerned about Twitch when he saw a clip from Clancy saying he wants to attract kids as young as 8 to use the platform. He decided to launch a website to track Jew hate on Twitch. Hassan is the #1 cause of normalizing the hatred towards Jews, Saltman told the Free Press. Saltman himself was banned from Twitch. And demanding Clancy step down as CEO. Like any propagandist, Hassan will keep pushing the line to keep growing and trying to get more and more traction and traffic and popularity as long as the platform is not willing to do anything to stop him. It's just so insidious, so evil, the way that Twitch operates, pushing Hassan and that type of content down young people's throats, Saltman added. I don't want my kids to grow up hating themselves because Hassan wants to have another mansion in LA and become more popular. Bro, this is literally anti-CRT shit from reactionary conservatives, by the way. I don't want my kids to grow up learning about how bad slavery was. We must stop teaching slavery in schools is unironically the exact same argument that he is making here, because defending Israel, a violent, rabid apartheid state, a settler colonial state that is built around a fascist ideology that is exterminationist in principle and ethno-religious supremacist, saying the truth about that is going to make people feel bad. Okay? It's going to make my children feel bad about themselves. Think about that. It's the exact... I'm back. Calm down. Thought they nuked you? Nah, I'm here. Minor F. Little baby F. It happens. Yeah, don't worry. I got my apolitical hat on. It's protecting me. It's preserving me. It's keeping me alive. All right, let's keep going. Twitch legitimized Piker, and now the mainstream media is celebrating him. Yesterday, I reached out to Representative Torres to ask him whether he'd seen the recent profile. He replied with a blistering assessment. The mainstream media's lionization of Hassan Piker exposes just how deeply anti-Semitism is permeated in American culture, Torres said. You could deny the rapes and sexual violence of October 7th and still receive a flattering profile from the New York Times celebrating your iron-pumping masculinity. But amid all the descriptions of Piker's attractiveness and all the photos that back it up, the Times lets something small yet grimly revealing slip into its profile of the streamer. One of the images shows Piker's monitor during his live streams. If you zoom in, you can see a comment from a Twitch user referring to an Israeli Defense Force soldier. I'd fuck this IDF bitch up to death and make his mother shove missiles up her ass. The Times has since updated the photo with the comment cropped out of the picture. Piker did not respond to a request for comment. First of all, they never gave me a request for comment. I didn't see it. I would have probably not commented. But yeah, you know what's ironic about this, by the way? This is like the thing that they try to make a big deal about. This person insta-clapped. Like, this is yet another great example of how fucking fast our moderation is. Okay? Yes, I have a follower limit of usually 10 minutes. If you follow me for 10 minutes, you can speak in this chat. The reason why I do that is because, unlike the free press from Bovine Berry, I actually do believe in open discourse. Okay? Not only has this account been suspended and deactivated or banned off the platform in general, but we banned him instantly. That was their first and only message, and they instantly got fucking banned. You understand? That type of sentiment is completely not allowed. So, my point is, the ironic thing that the story already highlights the fact that you ban people out of line. It was an actual pull quote. Yeah. So this is another push from like all of the ridiculous like Zionist publications that will do everything they can to just be like, you know, Hassan is anti-Semitic, Hassan is anti-Semitic, Hassan is anti-Semitic. Please get him banned. Please get him banned. Please get him banned. It happens. The reason why it happens is because whenever this kind of profile happens in a place like the New York Times, like, these guys will go up in arms, but ultimately it doesn't matter. And the reason why it doesn't matter is because these aren't like serious newspapers. It's the same principle behind, like, Richie Torres is the only guy that they can get motion out of, because Richie Torres is an unserious person. Everybody understands that Richie Torres is an unserious person. Do you know what I mean? So, like, this is no different than the previous hit pieces have been written in a bunch of these other places, or even Fox News. Like, Fox News is the only real legacy publisher they've been able to get motion with, but it doesn't matter. It, like, literally, I see it as praise. When Sky News talks about how scary I am and says, like, this guy hates Israel, how dare he? I see this as praise. I see this as free, because yeah, I do hate the apartheid state of Israel. I hate apartheid. I hate genocide. Every human being with a brain and a moral compass should also feel the same fucking way. It is actually more damning that you still, at this stage, continue to defend an apartheid state currently doing a genocide. So, sucks to suck, you know? Yeah, I do. Yeah, fuck Israel, free Palestine is correct. I don't give a shit. You can cry about it, you can complain about it. But remember, there is a double standard, of course, okay? Because the things that Israel actually does, okay, or the things that America actually does, if any other foreign adversary were to engage in, or even if any other foreign adversary were to do a fraction Okay, a fraction of the evil, and plenty have, right? Russia is a great example of this. If you were to say this about Russia, if you were to say, fuck Russia, free Ukraine, that's an understandable position. No one will get mad at you for that. Okay? Would you say in their minds people support Israel because they want their own countries to work like Israel? I think some people do that, yes. Some people's support for Israel comes from, why can't we do Israel shit? Okay? John Brown's Holy Ghost, thank you for the 10 gifted subs.
When it comes to these particular issues, this particular individual, Hassan Piker, is so toxic that after AOC of all people went on his show one point last year, she kind of did a quasi mea culpa when she was asked about it. She was like, "Oh, I didn't know his views were actually that radical." So,
what do you mean? I've literally collaborated with AOC multiple times since then. These are not radical views, bitch. These are literally the Democratic majority views. Okay, not only is it that 80% of the Democratic Party's base believes that Israel needs to stop doing a fucking genocide, okay? But also on top of that, there is a majority unfavorability against Israel right now by all Americans, in spite of the unlimited amount of propaganda that tries to justify Israel's incredibly violent actions. The majority of American Jews also agree with this. So you can't look. You can't put the toothpaste back in the fucking tube. You can try. You can keep yelling at people who speak out against this consistently, but the truth will not change. The reality will not change. And people's perception of Israel is understandably forever scarred. Scarred by what, mind you? Scarred by the truth. Because people actually started recognizing what the fuck Israel was doing. That's it. That's it. You can keep crying all day, every day. You can fucking jail me. You can try to get me banned from platforms. You can try to silence me. But you can't change the truth. Okay? That's it. I go away, there's going to be another person out there, okay? I go away, there's going to be another person that also takes up the mantle. Because I'm not individually able to hypnotize tens of thousands of people. I don't have like a special charisma power to be able to melt the minds of the youth, okay? All I'm doing is showing the truth. That's it. And you can't fucking stop the truth. You can try to silence it as best as you can. You can try to silence the opposition to the best of your ability. But ultimately, this is not just one person's doing. I am not foolish enough to assume that it is actually my awesome power that has been able to fucking convince so many people. That's it.
I mean, this guy has really made a name for himself there. So for him to get the full New York Times treatment there, that says a lot, frankly, about the New York Times. But for those of us who pay close attention there, this tragically is what the New York Times has been for a very long time.
Yeah. But that's what's so funny about this entire process is that, like, people, it's ironic. It's ironic when people turn around and talk about, like, how hot I am in a way to try and figure out, like, what's the reason why this guy is able to penetrate the consciousness of so many young men at a time when it seems like the Democratic Party has completely lost their power. They lost their motion. They lost their juice. Oh, it must be because he's hot. It must be because he fucking works out. And it's like, no, those are things that I organically care about. Those are things that I want my audience to do as well. Okay, for sure. But that's not the reason why I've been able to reach this level of success. The reason why I've been able to reach this level of success is because there are a lot of people like yourselves in this fucking chat. They go, oh my God, there's another person that feels the way that I do. Finally, someone is fucking voicing the concerns that I've had. This makes a lot more sense. It's not because I'm attractive. Okay. Yes, that plays a role in this for sure. It's not because I work out. It's because I'm saying how many of you feel. That's it. It's that simple. Bro, be real. If you were ugly, you wouldn't have 1/4 of the viewers you have right now. Oh my God, dude, I am not discounting. Oh, why do all my fucking haters constantly say I'm sexy? Jesus Christ, dude. Yes, dude. Yes, I'm sexy. I'm hot. I'm rich. Oh my God. This is not a fucking own. I told him not to do it because it's so stupid and dated. Basically, only this community will get this silly bullshit law. What is this? David Sirota. I'm in the Lotus feeling like David Sirota.
Don't look up was legit.
Oh my God, Andrew, this is. I'm in the Lotus. I'm feeling like David Sirota. What the fuck is this?
I'm feeling like David Sirota. I'm puffing on Yoda. I'm feeling like David Sirota. Don't look up was legit. I might run up with the stick. Well, it depends. I'm in the Benz, mask off, Taylor Lorenz. I might fuck around and be up next from DC Nova. David Brooks, David from David Shore. Move over, Matt Iglesias. Can't pay for this, that Substack cash outrageous. But don't look up what's so for real. Sirota's budget 70 mil. Jake Tapper 03. Gang banging Media Land was my favorite rap. Like Lorenz, I got the jab. Chop it up with Tom Friedman, then we split the cab. Before I had a sub.
Less of this, please. Yeah. Less of this. I'm sorry for showing you this. I'm sorry for showing you this. This is so bad. Puffin Yoda, feeling like David Sirota. Oh God. Tariffs interview tonight with our big boy president. Oh, I can't fucking wait, dude. He's gonna pop off. Oh, by the way, Barry Weiss, the Free Press, is teaming up with Trump's DC prosecutor to go after Wikipedia's nonprofit status to pressure it to be more pro-Israel. Barry could not have chosen a more Orwellian term for her authoritarian news outlet, taking a wrecking ball to Western institutions on behalf of Israel. This is the other side of the Free Press, by the way. Oh, shit is so lame, dude. The FP article seems to paint the fact that your community attracts anti-Zionist Jews and gives them a sense of belonging and communality as a bad thing somehow, which is so fucking funny because it's the only thing that gives me hope in a world of incredible bloodthirst in all my other familial relationships. Yeah. When are you going on Doom Scroll? Melon Boy just did it. Soon. Eventually. You had to beg for fan cams. Your haters and your incels care more about your looks more than your fans. Wait, what? I had to beg for fan cams? No, I was getting a lot of fan cams. I was begging for Sigma grindset edits, ironically enough. And we still haven't been able to figure out a decent Sigma grindset edits. But the Hopecore stuff fills that void, I think. Hopecore ones are pretty good. They work well. All right. Speaking of Hopecore, let's get to some hope, I guess, before I talk about Jeff Bezos. And duking it out with the Trump administration. Let's talk about Canada, our communist neighbors to the north. Some might say it's America's hat. I say it's Mark's Carney's time. That's right. The Liberal Party has gotten a resounding victory last night at the Canadian elections. A real country, by the way, not fake. I know, I checked.
I've been warning for months. America wants our land, our resources, our water, our country. Never. But these are not idle threats. President Trump is trying to break us so that America can own us. That will never ever happen. We are once again at one of those hinge moments of history. Our old relationship with the United States, a relationship based on steadily increasing integration, is over. The system of open global trade anchored by the United States, a system that Canada has relied on since the Second World War, a system that, while not perfect, has helped deliver prosperity for a country for decades, is over. These are tragedies, but it's also our new reality. We are over the shock of the American betrayal.
How are the markets not crashing? Does this whole financial system just run on hopium? Yes. No, literally. Like it's just vibes. It's all vibes based. And it's not even like an accurate assessment of the vibes. They just want to feel like it's good, and that's it.
But we should never forget the lessons.
But you're going to take us forward.
We have to look out for ourselves. And above all, we have to take care of each other.
This guy do blackface too? Unfortunately, he did not, which is why he's unqualified. He wants you to come on the pod Friday. He just posted that dog shit article. Hell yeah. I'm down. I'm going to be live on my end for the record. Well, I'm down. I guess he's talking to Sam Cedar then, huh?
And my message to every Canadian is this. No matter where you live, no matter what language you speak, no matter how you voted, I will always do my best to represent everyone who calls Canada home.
Breaking overnight this stunning political comeback thanks to and at the expense of President Trump. Canada's Liberal Party, led by Prime Minister Mark Carney, declared victory overnight despite being really left for dead.
Why do you hate Canada so much? I get it, but like we have nowhere to look for any news though. Someone being a dick about it. Wait, what? I don't hate Canada. What the fuck's wrong with you? If anything, I'm just jealous. But I am annoyed by the same fawning pieces that were written in 2016? Like whenever fucking Trudeau popped off, like all of the Trudeau was seen as like as a counter to Donald Trump, and it was in the aftermath. In 2015, yes, there was a lot of fawning pieces, but in the aftermath of the Trump victory, those pieces elevated. Okay, people were going crazy over Justin Trudeau and talking about how he is like a perfect. I even fucking entertained it. How he was such a perfect counter to the madness that Trump presented. And I feel like that is what's going on again. That's what's happening right now. People are just like jumping on the Carney train pretty hard. And I mean, he is objectively better than PP, right? Like that's not even a question. He's objectively better than PP. I mean, that's not even a question. Like he's just PP sucks. Pierre Polar Bear. So we shall see. You know, I'm never going to jump on board with like a liberal W to be like, it's over. This is such a major victory, in the same way that like, regardless of my assessment of Kamala's chances, like I wasn't excited. I gave an interview to Newsweek in the lead up to the election where I talked about how even if Donald Trump loses and Kamala Harris wins, like I am not excited about the future of America, because Donald Trump has been able to successfully rebuild American politics in his vision, right? And that it's just the same principle here with Carney. Not to like yuck your yum, Canadians. Like you got a stay of execution, right? You got a stay of execution, and you should celebrate PP losing his seat. You should celebrate the conservatives taking an L, especially because a couple months ago, Justin Trudeau was so fucking unpopular. Justin Trudeau was so goddamn unpopular that it looked like conservatives were going to win, right? And then Donald Trump came out and saved your fucking country. Saved your country by being a repulsive little freak that kept entertaining the notion of permanent military annexation of Canada, which was insane. And then the liberals did the right thing, and they got Justin out, and they put this dude in his stead. And very quickly, there was a massive jump in the polls. Like it was insane. Having said that, I'm not going to, I understand the excitement, right? This is your moment to celebrate for sure. But, if you think that this is going to lead to like a Canadian socialist project, like, it's not going to happen.
Several months ago, but then Donald Trump took office, targeted Canada with tariffs, and threatened to annex it as the 51st state.
America.
I will say it's fucking awesome that a dude whose only ambition was to win this race since the age of 20, like a guy who basically designed his entire life around this race that he just lost, okay, who's never had a real job, who basically rebuilt his own image in the process. A guy who has only been a politician for this purpose got his shit pushed in crazy style as a direct consequence of Donald Trump and his associations with Donald Trump. I'm sorry. That is spectacular. Okay? That is amazing. And now he's fucking unemployed. That is a real moment for excitement and celebration. For sure. What a fucking fumble, dude. What a goddamn fumble. Jordan Peterson's probably crying since this Marxist regime has come back to Canada after years of Justin Trudeau's Che Guevaran style governance where they executed people for transgender crimes in broad daylight. That's right. If you were compelled to correctly gender someone and refused bravely, Justin Trudeau's militants would send you to the Gulag Archipelago and shoot you in the back of the head. And now Mark Carney will follow the same agenda of socialist violence.
Wants our land, our resources, our water, our country. Never. But these are not idle threats. President Trump is trying to break us so that America can own us.
Pierre Pepe went from fully guaranteed to be prime minister to losing his own fucking seat. Insane turnaround. Excellent. Excellent turnaround. You will never catch me not celebrating a fucking conservative dickhead taking the fattest L of all time. Okay? That is something that I will always be on board with. I will always celebrate that. I'm petty as fuck. I don't give a shit.
That will never, ever happen.
That was the main campaign issue, and this is what Donald Trump has said about Canada over the last several months.
And we can't let them take advantage of the U.S. What I'd like to see, Canada become our 51st state. Canada only works as a state. It doesn't. We don't need anything they have. If you look at a map, they drew an artificial line right through it between Canada and the U.S. If we make it in the United States, we don't need it to be made in Canada. We'll have the jobs. That's why Canada should be our 51st state. So when I say they should be a state, I mean that. I really mean that. Because we can't be expected to carry a country. I do like the OCAN.
Borders are scars. It's the face of the earth. All borders require the violence of their maintenance. Folks, we must abolish borders. No gods, no masters, and no more borders. Folks, believe me, have you read this book? They're calling it the bread book. They're saying there's no end to exploitation until full appropriation. We must take over all of the lands that are owned in the hands of private capital. No more enclosures. Kropotkin. Oh, it's amazing. He endorsed himself the day of the election. Good luck to the great people of Canada. Elect the man who has the strength and wisdom to cut your taxes in half, increase your military power for free to the highest level in the world, have your car, steel, aluminum, lumber, energy, and other businesses quadruple in size with zero tariffs or taxes. If Canada becomes...
Trudeau virtue signaled to a degree that was
If Canada becomes the cherished 51st state of the United States of America, no more artificially drawn line from many years ago. Look how beautiful this landmass would be. Free access with no border, all positives with no negatives. It was meant to be. America can no longer subsidize Canada with the hundreds of billions of dollars a year that we have been spending in the past. It makes no sense unless Canada is a state. Pierre Poilievre on January 1st, 2025. Canada. Liberal accomplishments. Worst housing affordability ever. Skyrocketing national debt. Rampant inflation. Homelessness in 10 cities. Violent crime rates soaring. Hell yeah, baby. That's right. The Liberal Party is going to continue making every Canadian homeless. I've heard they have a specific policy of only giving free housing to the Indian migrants. And the way that they're doing it is they're going to white people's homes in Canada. If you're like a red-blooded white patriot Canadian who has conservative leanings and associations, they come to your house with guns and they say, "You're homeless now, eh? You're homeless now, eh?" And then they make sure that you live in the streets, okay? No more bootstraps for you so that an Indian family can take over your house. That's what I've heard. This is Jordan Peterson's face when he finds out he's about to be evicted to become homeless so that an Indian family can live in his home.
virtually impossible as he impoverished Canada.
Is that true? Yeah. Yeah. If you've ever said two genders, if you've ever accidentally misgendered a trans person, if you've ever accidentally misgendered a trans person, even if you apologize immediately after and it was a total accident, it doesn't matter. You're instantly getting evicted from your home by the Mounties. Yeah, it's actually so much worse. The Indian family is also trans. Yes.
Canada, right? It's a beautiful thing. I think we're going to have to keep it for the 51st state. I call him Governor Trudeau.
It's quite literal. Like all of this stuff is directly the reason why Mark Carney won. Oh my God. I keep saying Mark Carney. It's going to stick. It's like when I said Keir Stalin. Keir Stalin, Mark Carney. That's right. Karl Marx Carney. Marx Carney. That's right. More like Marx Carney. Folks, it's happening. Canada is becoming a part of the CCP. That's right. They are CHICOM.
All right, how decisive was President Trump in the Canadian election? Our friend John.
Fire. Thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. It's Moldovan Mama Liga time. Literally, like they admit each province is an individual state and the territories is like their own separate state to even have a mechanism of acceding, short of annexation, which would turn the entirety of Canada into the FLN, to be honest. Dude, the fucking Quebecers would lose their shit if they were under double occupation. Can you imagine? They were like, the Anglophone Canadians have harmed us our whole lives. Now there's an even worse threat out there. Anglophone Americans. Like, dude, they would do stuff that Hamas militants would be like, that's a bridge too far. Like, why are you doing this? This is like so much. This is so much carnage. They would be like, they would make the Viet Cong look like peaceful doves. Okay. It's crazy to think. The new IRA. Yeah. No shot. Double occupation. Yeah. As you guys know, Denis Villeneuve is the reason why I am a Quebec separatist. And for that reason, as a Quebec separatist, I am in favor of the Quebec resistance movement doing whatever they must to deny America occupation. Okay. All of a sudden, Quebecers actually do become the Maoist third worldists in this process. Okay. All of a sudden, they are hailed as the liberators.
Jonathan Martin at Politico heard from Republican Congressman Don Bacon overnight. Yes, Republican Congressman. Bacon told him, quote, the Liberals in Canada were losing big until our president kept mocking Canadians, our neighbors and close friends. He made Canadian Liberals great again. Let's get right to CNN's Paula Newton in Ottawa for this really election stunner. 4 months ago, no one would have predicted this.
And good morning, John. In fact, Donald Trump's first 100 days consequential here in Canada. John, this was so history-making that when you speak to pollsters, they talk about not having seen this kind of party resurrection in modern political history in almost any democracy around the world. Think about that. And that was because the man, Prime Minister Mark Carney, met the moment with what? His resume. He's not exactly the most charismatic campaigner, but Canadians put their faith in him in order to bargain, to negotiate with Donald Trump. And I want to talk about something else as well, something that will reverberate in many different countries right now going forward as they all face the Trump administration. Mark Carney harnessed that anger, that betrayal that Canadians felt every time the president spoke about a 51st state or Governor Trudeau, which of course was the man that Mark Carney took over from. He harnessed that. He stiffens spines, he talks about sacrifice, and he's getting Canadians ready for what will be a tough negotiation with the president. Listen.
When I sit down with President Trump.
Liberals to the north, Mexicans to the south. Trump can't imagine a worse world. Yeah, the difference is I think he hates liberals more than he hates Morena. So he likes Claudia Sheinbaum. He has said that he respects Claudia Sheinbaum on numerous occasions. I think part of that is because she plays ball, and so did AMLO with the immigration stuff. And they just basically let them do welfare state shit as a benefit, as a present, as a gift. They were like, oh, if you keep migrants inside of Mexico rather than allowing them to travel into the United States, then we'll let you do welfare in your country. We'll give you a little bit of autonomy as a treat. And he also likes Claudia because she's popular, and Trump loves popular leaders. He has no idea why a Jewish woman is president of Mexico. He's just rolling with it. Yeah, I mean, that's irrelevant. I think it's just because of her popularity, Morena's popularity, and their willingness to play ball with the Trump administration when it comes to combating immigration spillover into the United States.
It will be to discuss the future economic and security relationship between two sovereign nations. And it will be with our full knowledge that we have many, many other options than the United States to build prosperity for all Canadians.
Mark Carney calling this a hinge moment, right? That pivot, which he intends to execute now that he is Prime Minister. John, I want to make clear this was a close election in terms of the popular vote. Canada really splitting between the Liberals of Mark Carney and the Conservatives of Pierre Poilievre. That man did not manage to even win his seat just outside here in Ottawa. Some people called him too Trumpian, but he too is at historic highs in the popular vote. What does all that mean? It means Canada itself, stop me when this sounds familiar, is really leaning on two-party politics. They want strong leaders to face the kind of threat that is coming from the White House. And right now, Mark Carney says he is getting ready for negotiations, using the word, again, John, of sacrifice, preparing Canadians for what's to come. John?
Really could have ripple effects all around the world in terms of what Donald Trump is trying to do. Paula Newton, great to see you this morning. Thank you very much.
So let's get more on the Canadian election now from Professor Michael Keating, Emeritus Professor of Politics at the University of Aberdeen and Honorary Professor at the University of Edinburgh. Appreciate you joining us. So Canada's Liberal Party is projected to win the federal election led by Mark Carney in a stunning political comeback. Votes are still being counted, but how do you expect this to land in the end?
It's not clear whether Carney will get an absolute majority, but he will certainly form the next government because he's the biggest party. They're ahead in the popular vote. If he doesn't get a majority, he'll have to seek support from the smaller parties, most likely the New Democratic Party, which is a centre-left party, which has been doing very badly, but they may pick up half a dozen seats, and that might be critical to forming the next government.
Now, in his victory speech, Carney asked, and I'm quoting here, "Who's ready to stand up for Canada with me?" How much of this Liberal Party win was due to the Trump factor, with Donald Trump's trade war with Canada and, of course, his constant threats to make the country the 51st U.S. state?
Talking to a potato, that's because Trump couldn't liberate the country. That's why. If Trump could have liberated the country, we would have had this guy on the wonderful American broadband, as you guys know, the wonderful American broadband that is famously very good. NDP shit the bed finally. How is that a good moment, dude? I mean, they shat the bed on their own volition, from what I understand. I don't know enough. I don't know. I hate that. Like, look, I didn't pay enough attention to the NDP's issues, but it's obvious that they have fallen out of favor spectacularly, and my immediate suspicion is because they were so closely associated with Justin Trudeau. Like they had to concede to Justin Trudeau over and over again in an effort to have a fraction of power. And ironically enough, despite the fact that the liberal here presented a different face to the movement and was able to differentiate himself from Justin Trudeau in that moment and become the most prominent face of like the anti-Trump coalition in the process, which elevated him into the status that he got. Whereas I suspect a little bit that NDP's catering to the Liberals only normalized Liberal positions to their own base, and also was a reminder that like Jagmeet Singh was a reminder of the Trudeau incompetence, perhaps. I don't know. Horrible messaging. They targeted Trudeau too much, didn't address policies. No, but I'm saying initially when they were trying to legislate, they were collaborating with the Liberals. No, am I wrong? NDP normalized pharmacare and dental care as a Liberal position. Yeah, that was good. Then you also have the scare. Then you also have in specific riders like tactical voting. Don't vote for NDP in places where like the Liberals have a better shot. And it seems like that was part of the, you know, that was part of the problem too.
Oh, a great deal. Canadians are very proud of their independence. And they don't dislike the United States, but they're very keen to tell you that they are not Americans. They're not part of the United States. And that kind of language is going to produce a reaction. All the parties in Canada, Quebec nationalists included, had to say, no, we'll stand up for Canada. But Carney was the most effective in doing that because the Conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, had been seen as having some affinities with Trump and quite close to Trump. So Carney was the one who is in a better position to speak in defense of Canada. It should be said, however, the Conservative vote also went up. Both parties went up. And at the expense of the small parties, I mentioned the new Democratic Party. There's a Quebec Nationalist Party, the Bloc Québécois, who may get some seats in Parliament as well. So a win for Carney, but not an overwhelming win. Because nevertheless, it's remarkable because they were 25 points behind just a few months ago. I've never seen such a massive turnaround in such a short period of time in any democratic system.
Yes, of course. And Mark Carney is a Harvard-educated economist with a master's degree and doctorate from Oxford University. He's also a former governor of the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England. So how will he likely take on Donald Trump and his tariffs? And how will he prevent a recession in Canada?
Bro, Canada is so fucking libtarded, by the way. Like, the idea of like, oh, we have a smart banker who's not going to fuck up the economy. It's like classic. You don't need to have just a smart banker to not do Trump, okay? Anyway, once again, not enough robust or viable alternatives. And you get Mark Carney, also known as Marks Carney, also Mr. Pro-China, apparently. So who knows? Who knows where that goes, you know? It's the smart bankers that fucked up the West. Okay, it's the smart bankers that created the economic instability that led to Donald Trump. Make no mistake, okay? It is all the smart and efficient bankers that deregulated finance, that unleashed the markets, if you will. Make no mistake.
He's an Oxford-educated banker. He's just the sort of people that the populace would target. That is quite remarkable. Hardly an ordinary man of the people, but nevertheless, he speaks with some authority, and at a time of uncertainty like this, people are looking for somebody who doesn't have political experience, but has a lot of credibility and has run 2 central banks. The challenges facing the country are enormous. Even without the threat from President Trump, there are problems with growth, problems with productivity, there are problems with inflation and the cost of living. And these are big problems, and Canada's dependence on energy is in some sense a strength, but it's also a weakness at a time when we're supposed to be transitioning to net zero. As far as Trump is concerned, this is a huge challenge. Carney has certainly been able to speak up.
But that's not Carney, you moron. Canada did not go into economic depression when the States did in 2008 because of him. No, it's the same school of thought across the board. It's just a defensive posture towards deregulation. Even though, from what I've seen of Carney's own words, he seemingly is against that. The whole market fundamentalism actually ends up eating, just as any revolution eats its own children. Market fundamentalism has created real problems. Blah blah blah. I know. I've heard those words. It's almost identical to what the fucking Pope had said. So much so that I thought it was actually the quote from the Pope. The Pope that just passed away. He was governor of the BOC. He kept the reserve ratios high, more regulated so the 2008 recession didn't hit us as hard. Look, all I'm saying is that even the smartest economist, okay, even the smartest banker is still a fucking banker. This is only causing a little bit of skepticism in me. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he's as bad as PP would have been. I'm saying the exact opposite. I think it's perfectly valid to celebrate the defeat of a shit-ass conservative, right? But, you know, it's still, at the end of the day, a fucking banker. So excuse me for thinking maybe, you know, being a little bit skeptical about a banker, regardless of how brilliant his banking techniques might have been at the time.
For Canada, and to criticize Trump very frankly in a way that some other leaders, such as the British leader, have not been able to. But he's got to deal with the United States. The United States takes 85% of Canada's trade. There's got to be some kind of deal. Otherwise, the economic consequences for Canada could be quite devastating.
Michael Keating, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
We get the latest now on President Trump marking the first 100 days of his second term.
Chatters, I will say this about Mark Carney. Look forward to being pleasantly surprised by his impact in office. I wish Canada the very best. They took an important step in moving away from being an American territory and reminded their underpants to the south of their border that they are a full-fledged nation with autonomy, with sovereignty, and that their brain rot is nowhere near as bad. And that's good. That's great. I'm excited to see what Carney does. I hope that my skepticism is completely and utterly unwarranted. Every Canadian progressive is far too lived up right now. It's genuinely impressive. They're coconut pilled. Look, man, if Canada doesn't fix its fucking housing problem, none of this shit matters. Okay? That's it. That's it. The first thing that he should be doing is to fix the housing crisis in Canada. And the only successful long-term solution for that is socialized housing. Do I suspect a banker is going to do public housing? No. Maybe he will surprise me.
Emma Vigland on the Majority Report. It is a pleasure to welcome to the program Rohit Chopra, former head of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, also former chair of the...
Is this it? Is this a Canada one?
Is
this the Canada interviewer, Chatter?
The savings that are going to be implicated going forward for the American public.
Well, it's not that long ago, Sam, that we...
Why are Chatters sending me this shit?
People would get that tattooed on their face as a way of making sure that people didn't... it's...
Anyways, a lot of people...
You know... Well, let's look at this. Polyev. Was this an ad or?
Let's watch it, and then Luke can sort of give us the history of it.
On the topic, I mean, in terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean?
Well, appealing to people's more emotional levels, I would guess. I mean, certainly you tap very strong ideological language quite frequently.
Like what?
Left wing, you know, this and that, right wing, I mean, it's that type of ideological thing.
I never really talk about left or right.
Anyways,
I don't really believe in that.
Okay. A lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but...
Like who?
I don't know who, but...
Well, you're the one who asked the question, so
yeah.
You must know somebody.
You get the point.
Wow, he went to town on that apple. Eating on camera is a real. That has very little low returns. I don't know. I mean, that's a risky bet.
Chill.
That's a risky bet.
I wish I remembered the original context for that video, but it actually is, in its own weird way, a nice little introduction, a canned introduction to Polyev's style. I mean, what you see him doing there, where he's kind of doing this like he's a character in a Socratic dialogue, where he's like, but who is saying this? Like, please explain yourself. He's used that technique with reporters many times, and it can often be quite disarming. They're not used to this kind of somewhat more confrontational style. I do think there are parts of Polyevra's, style and approach that do mirror Donald Trump, but I actually think a better U.S. analog is someone like Ron DeSantis, frankly. Poilievre is he's a creature of the conservative movement. He's been in Parliament since his early 20s.
That's a great comparison.
Since the early 2000s.
And also just incredibly unfuckable.
Before that, he interned at various right-wing think tanks, that sort of thing. He's he's a guy who's read too much Milton Friedman. He's a guy who's probably read too much Hayek. He's that sort of conservative. He's a guy who, when he was running for the leadership, did a campaign event where he bought shawarma with Bitcoin or something on camera. So he's a guy who, kind of like DeSantis, is constantly.
He's so, dude. Pierre Pepe is so unlikable that he reminds me of a Canadian that inevitably makes his way to the United States of America. Like, there's a very specific type of Canadian that just can't pop off in Canada and will inevitably come down to the reactionary racist shithole that is Canada's underpants, the United States of America. And that's precisely the fucking vibes that PP has. He has the vibes of a man who is going to get a media career in the US in a little bit. I hate that.
Constantly feeding the online parts of the right red meat and kind of doing that as a political style. He honestly, the parts he's borrowing from Trumpism, I think, there are parts of Trump 2016, perhaps you could say, he's borrowing from. He did talk about the cost of living crisis. He talked about lines at food banks, that kind of thing, which was one of the sort of quiet innovations, not to compliment Donald Trump, but of Trump 2016. You know, here was a very right-wing guy who was like at least acknowledging social pain at a time when the Democratic Party was saying America never stopped being great, et cetera. So Paulie Everett is very weird. I mean, that and so much else, if he appears on video, it kind of looks like it's like Tim and Eric or something. It's like almost satirical.
I hate that.
His videos, he does crazy numbers on YouTube. And so if you're not the kind of person for whom you find this weird or this makes your skin crawl, Polyev, he's got a certain appeal, clearly. I mean, over 40% of the electorate cast a vote for his party last night. So
I really resent the Apple stolen valor that's going on there, where he's like trying to get credit for eating an apple.
That's your thing.
That
we have to recut that video.
That I take personally on some level. But let's play this clip of Carney's election night victory speech.
As I've been warned,
and specifically, I mean, this is. I mean, I guess it's harder for us to understand in the context of America as like, the classic we sneeze and other people catch a cold type of situation. But it's pretty clear what he felt like, was part of his mandate. And so I just want to talk about like this aspect going forward. And also, if it is the case that the Liberals don't win the majority in the parliament, what does that mean in terms of NDP and other smaller left-wing parties? But
as I've been warning for months, America wants our land, our resources, our water, our country. Never. But these are not idle threats. President Trump is trying to break us so that America can own us. That will never, ever happen. We are once again at one of those hinge moments of history. Our old relationship with the United States, a relationship based on steadily increasing integration, is over. The system of open global trade anchored by the United States, a system that Canada has relied on since the Second World War, a system that, while not perfect, has helped deliver
This is the reason why this shit fucking pisses me off, like what Trump is doing. Like you got liberals who used to be skeptical of free trade arrangements in like the 90s, now celebrating a fucking banker. And yes, he's more Jerome Powell than Jamie Dimon, as one chatter was saying, but it doesn't matter because Jerome Powell wasn't always Jerome Powell. He was Jamie Dimon before he was Jerome Powell. Same with this fucking guy. Like that you got liberals and progressives like singing the praises of a dude who's like, we are going to, revitalize free trade agreements across the board. It's like, I hate that the torch against free trade agreements that have been horrible for the global South in general, with one exception, obviously, and that is China, is now being hailed as like as a saving, hailed as something to be saved. Such a straw man. What are the options? No, I'm not saying that there's options. Bro, can I just say, guys, this is a good thing, okay? Jesus Christ. It's infinitely better than fucking, it's infinitely better than PP. I'm not, and a big part of the reason why many Canadians fucking woke up to that reality was because of Donald Trump. They saw Donald Trump fucking shit up down here and were like, holy shit, we have to never allow Canada to look like that. The point I'm simply trying to get across here is that, you know, I'm still worried about Canada's future, and if Carney doesn't address a lot of the economic problems that are facing everyday Canadians, just like I said after Keir Starmer's W, that this will only grow a even more resentful, more reactionary right-wing movement that will take advantage of the anger and resentment that many people feel in their hearts as a direct consequence of the economic instability. Specifically, housing is the major one. I mean, look no further than what Joe Biden did. Obviously, Joe Biden was a fucking doddering old fool. Carney is like dynamic and smart. I'm not saying he's not smart, but, you know, ultimately he has to fucking fix. He has to try to tackle these issues, right? Because if he doesn't, then it's cooked. Joe started dynamic too? No, he fucking didn't. He was dead. Joe was dead on arrival, chat. Come on. What are we doing? Revisionist fucking history here? Joe was literally dead on arrival. The Hill covered me?
Of controversial Twitch streamer Hassan Piker.
Wait, where the fuck is Ryan Grimm?
The Times initially headlined its profile, "A Progressive Mind in a MAGA Body," with the subhead reading, "Hassan Piker pumps iron, likes weapons, and wears pearls.
Who are these people?
His brand of masculinity has won him many fans online and has been a useful vehicle for his politics."
The Times, however, apparently changed that headline to read, "A progressive mind in a body made for the manosphere." Piker, as some of you may know, has said some contentious things in the past. He once suggested that he didn't, quote, have an issue with Hezbollah. Piker also said the U.S. deserved the 9/11 attack, something the New York Times did note in the piece.
The Times' profile touched on the fact that Piker gets away with things he says and does, like painting his nails or wearing pearls, because he has what one sociologist called jock insurance. In other words, his masculine gender capital gives him leeway to do and say outside-the-box things. The Times also conceded that part of why he's popular is due to the fact that he's, quote, a very handsome man.
Lucky him. Reactions abounded on X. Journalist Mary Catherine Ham wrote this: "I kind of love that gushing media coverage of Hassan has to apologize for the fact that he's good looking and fit. Like, don't worry, although he looks like he's seen the inside of a gym. Bad. That's right coded. He's a shill for disastrous socialism and murderous terrorists," which is good.
Meanwhile, journalist Mehdi Hassan wrote on Blue Sky, "I'm glad the New York Times profiled Hassan Piker, but calling his use of the word genocide to describe Gaza extreme is insane. Some of Israel's top Holocaust scholars are calling it a genocide, as are Amnesty and Human Rights Watch. Absurd from the NYT."
So, this profile, I think, was interesting and flawed in a variety of ways. It was very glowing toward Hassan Piker. The author seems to have a crush on this guy. It described, yes, he's a good-looking man who works out. Congrats to him. It was that point over and over and over again. Like,
bro, yo, take it out of your mouth, dude. Why are you dick eating? Take it out of your mouth before you deliver the next speech. That is crazy. It comes across like you're just petty and jealous. What's happening? It's in the fucking style section, man. Yeah, that's why. It's about style.
That's shocking. Also, it's kind of weird, the initial framing that, like,
a MAGA body, that part.
Right. Liberals are trying to manifest the idea that only conservative people work out. I'm not even sure that on average, if you went through the entire country, that conservative people are going to be in better shape than liberal.
Okay, I do agree with this. Liberals probably by and large are healthier than conservatives are. That was a major L for the New York Times. They did the classic thing where they come up with a title that makes everybody pissed off. Like everyone from every part of the political spectrum. Shut up. I stopped consuming Cereals 2 years ago. Liberals could never.
People, it probably breaks down by income level and a bunch of other things.
And urban, rural, and all that.
There is something true, however, to the fact now that, I mean, I've seen plenty of articles in like ridiculous liberal publications being like, do you like working
there are no ridiculous liberal publications, Robbie.
Like,
what's that?
I was thinking like Jezebel type place. I don't even know if Jezebel's still in operation, something like that. Like, working out is right-wing coded, and are you secretly a fascist if you work out? There has been a lot of that discourse in progressive circles now, so I see where they got this idea, but it's not true that working out is somehow right-wing coded. Look, I don't actually pay very much attention to Hassan Piker. He is a big deal on Twitch. He's very, very left-leaning, like extremely socialist, extremely anti-Israel. I didn't know, one thing I learned from reading this piece, which I didn't know, but maybe everyone knows, is that he admits to being a Nepo baby. He got his start. I assumed he just like emerged naturally on playing video games on Twitch the way a lot of people does. But no, Cenk Uyghur's his uncle.
Right, and gave him a job with the Young Turks. Yeah.
Which, that's fine. I like Cenk Uyghur. There's nothing wrong with that. He just didn't emerge totally out of nowhere.
Right.
Everybody, it turns out, is connected to somebody else. What did you make of the piece?
So I found it an interesting piece. I found it kind of curious because I, like you, I'm aware of that he exists, right? But obviously I'm not on Twitch on a regular basis listening to his 8 hours of gaming and commentary while he's on there. To me, in terms of the politics of what he said, which seems to be exercising the right a lot, some of the things that he is being lambasted for seem to me to be sort of clumsy wordings of legitimate arguments. So, for example, on the Gaza thing, he's talking about the fact that he believes essentially that the Israeli response to October 7th has been so brutal that it can't be justified regardless of exactly what happened on October 7th. He regards it as
except no, it's not. No, he's trying to say exactly what happened on October 7th isn't like he's taking a position where he understands where I'm coming from, but he's taking a couple extra leaps here.
Disproportionate, whether or not.
No, that's not what I said. I didn't say it's disproportionate to October 7th. I said it's a genocide, and genocide is never appropriate, no matter what. He's whitewashing my words in a way that is more appropriate for their audience. Yeah, I take serious stances or talk about serious issues, but in a clumsy way. That's true. I wouldn't even say that's wrong. I think that is true. But what he's doing here, I think, is liberalizing my assessment.
There were Israeli people raped on October 7th or not. That is not something I would say. I don't think it is wise or sensitive to get into that whole debate about, if people were or weren't raped, that changes or doesn't change the equation.
Why? What do you mean? I like that he also somewhat agrees with what I'm saying. He's like, well, I wouldn't call it a genocide. I think Israel's retaliation has been disproportionate. But, as far as disproportionate retaliations goes, I wouldn't even ask whether or not rapes happening or not happening factors into the disproportionate retaliation. Yeah, my argument is literally, you're being so insensitive. Yeah, I guess I am, because I have a firmly held commitment to an anti-genocide position where, of course, my argument is rapes happening on October 7th does not justify genocide. That's that simple. And on top of that, due to the fact that the Israeli first responders absolutely fucking botched all of the readily available forensic evidence before doing any sort of fucking forensic examination, we don't even have any fucking evidence beyond the suspicions that it took place. Even the UN report shows that reality, with the exception of one firsthand account from a hostage that wasn't on October 7th. And it's still unjustifiable. But guess what? It still doesn't it still doesn't legitimize genocide. Just as there is a 49-page report from the United Nations that literally spells out Israel's systematic use of rape and sexual assaults as a weapon to wield against the Palestinian population. It's attacks on facilities that are trying to. It's attacks on fucking hospitals. It's attacks on facilities that try to provide birth in the midst of a genocide, and also the systematic rape that they do in their prison structure to Palestinian captives does not justify doing a genocide to Israel. It's not that complicated. The only reason why you would have an issue with this argument is because you think Palestinians are not human. It's that simple. Israel did a fucking pro-rape January 6th. And I don't think that that would justify fucking nuking Tel Aviv. I don't think so. I don't believe that. Because I want people to live. I want people to become better versions of themselves. I want people to recognize their faults and rehabilitate.
I see his central point is that the Israelis have gone in, killed people in the tens of thousands, and nothing can justify that. That seems to me to be his argument. September 11th, again, I would not say what he said. I'm not sure that it means that he should be, I don't know, exiled from Twitch or anywhere else.
I certainly don't want him exiled from Twitch. I'm against censorship. He should be able to say whatever provocative things he wants. I do not think, every criticism of what Israel does is necessarily anti-Semitic. And I'm always okay, what exactly did they say?
Right.
Never take their word for it on when that's being alleged. Now, all of that said, the things he's actually said over the years seem pretty incendiary to me. Again, I'm not clutching my pearls. Unlike him, I don't wear any, so I have none to
pearls
clutch.
to clutch.
But he just says some awful stuff.
Well, I think he's curious that Hezbollah.
He says really violent stuff. He said I don't agree with Dan Crenshaw's views generally, but that he deserved to lose his eye and.
Awesome. No, I didn't miss it. I saw he made a joke. Bro, I love that he's like, listen, I'm not pearl clutching. I'm a libertarian. I'm a free speech libertarian. I promise. But also, here's me fucking pearl clutching. Bro's playing your greatest hits. Yeah.
I mean, I
deserve 9/11, and everyone who disagrees with him deserves to come to some violent end. And I think
that's not true. I've never said that. That is not true. You are trying to turn this into me being anti-free speech in the process of making an anti-free speech argument. He literally said that so that he could signal to his audience that his distaste with what I'm saying is not on the boundaries of him being a pearl clutcher, but because I actually am constantly saying that, all the people that disagree with me should die, saying that I'm like a fucking SJW or whatever. That's a trick. I caught you doing that shit. No, the real reason why he has a distaste for what I have to say is because he doesn't fucking agree with what I have to say. But because he's supposed to present himself as a free speech libertarian, he can't turn around and attack the position and demand censorship to take place. Yeah, why you gotta make shit up? Why you gotta make shit up?
If again,
look at this bullshit chat. All right, we already read it. It was awesome. They called me handsome. Also, can I ask you guys a question? Where do you guys come from? Like 43-month subscribers, 42-month subscribers. I already read the article. But why is it that you guys all in fucking unison come in here, long-term community subscribers, and you're like, please, you have to read this. Why? Where are you all coming from? Why do you guys constantly feel the need to send me articles like this? This one is unique because I did actually read it and it was awesome and I think it's very funny. But do I need to know every time someone says something mean about me? 43-month subscribers? Huh? 42-month subscriber, 42-month subscriber? What happened? You got lunch break at the job site and said, time to fucking, I'm sorry, just came up on my feed. I wasn't watching earlier. Sorry. No, don't. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. I'm just asking what the immediate motivator is here, where so many of you will immediately go, oh, dude, someone said, fuck Hassan. It's time for him to see it, And I just never understand what leads people to do that. Like, why? Lower your tone. They think you're yelling at that. I'm not yelling at you guys. I love you guys. Don't be such little drama farmers, Don't do it. It's not good. It's not healthy. That's all I'm saying. Feel me? You're making the chatter feel bad? Okay, don't feel bad. 40 months here, we're in a secret Discord run by the World Economic Forum. 40 plus, you get invited. Yeah, if you're a 40 plus month subscriber, you get invited. Eric Adams is running on the End Anti-Semitism ballot line. Turco-Israeli values need to be a term that comes out of this. Oh my God, America is not a Judeo-Christian nation. America is a Judeo-Turkic nation. Okay, if Eric Adams does say that, by the way, I will vote for him. I'm sorry. I will illegally vote for him. I apologize to Zoran, but there is 0% chance that he can win my vote over that. Eric Adams, the Turkish man, the most Turkish man to ever exist, is running on a platform of restoring the truth about this nation. That it is not one born out of Christian values, and not even born out of Judeo-Christian values. It is a nation born out of Judeo-Turkic values, as a matter of fact. And that's what I'm fighting for. If he says that, I'm voting for him. And non-exist problem, more news at never. What? America was born out of Judeo-Turkic values. One, I think they want to see your reaction. Two, they want to hear your take and confirm the lie / defend yourself. Yeah, I know. Sure, you want to claim this one? Judeo-Turkic values? Yeah, I am claiming it. I like that when I say stuff like that, people who hate me will unironically be like, wow, this is so unacceptable. I can't believe he said that. He's so disrespectful. It's like, yeah, dude, I'm fucking joking. like listening to the Houthis music video did not actually create jihad, the feeling of jihad in my heart. Like, that's a joke, okay? God damn. Everybody loves to fucking claim that they're not pearl clutchers and then immediately clutch all the pearls.
Yeah, if right-wing people, and there are right-wing people who similarly do use insane, contrarian ways of speaking, would not be not just lionized, but lusted over in the pages of the news.
That's literally untrue. They did a profile of Curtis Yarvin. Curtis Yarvin is not only gross looking, but also on top of that, Curtis Yarvin got an interview, a whole ass interview, and he is directly in the orbit of J.D. Vance, the current fucking vice president, and is the theorist, perhaps most responsible for all of these like Peter Thiel style fucking billionaire psychopaths. The notion that the New York Times would not actually go after and lust after or write positive articles about like incredibly right-wing individuals is so stupid and so wrong. Like, his worldview adjusted to why do you say don't send me these articles as you spend time about watching a YouTube video about you? Oh, dude, I already fucking read the article, man. Why do you want to argue with me? Are you that bored? Are you bored? Is that what it is? Are you fucking bored? I said we already read the article, okay? But the principle behind like why someone immediately is like, oh, someone says something mean about you, you have to read it. That's what I was calling into question. That's it. But the reason why the reason why you fucking wrote that is because you want to fight, okay? You want to fight. That's what it is. It's so sad to see this community get destroyed by toxic reactionary drama slobs. So many of you care more about attacking people over covering ideas. Is so tiring. Yes.
New York Times, and so that there's something a little bit selective about what is a disqualifying way of making a provocative point.
Right, and that thing about Dan Crenshaw, I wouldn't defend that in any way.
Yeah. We got it, dude. You're not pearl clutching, except you took the long way to just be like, they shouldn't write a glowing article about him because he said mean things. That's what it is. But he can't say it out. He can't say it out loud like that because his audience is so fucking trained. His audience is so trained to immediately strike that down as like libtard anti-speech shit that he has to pearl clutch while engaging in this extra step that makes it seem like he's not pearl clutching when he very clearly is, and complain about the article. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just like a fucking puff piece. Who cares, dude? I don't know why this like fucking breaks your brain so goddamn hard, you know?
Really characterized. It happens to everybody. It happens to us. And right, we always want to go and check, well, what exactly did he say? I never want to rely on someone else's characterization because a lot of those, sometimes they're unfair.
Right.
Even for people I still do think are like not good, like Candace Owens, for example, said a lot of things I think are insane over the years. But people say, oh, she's, this thing she said was crazy. And they'll look and go, well, that's not, that is being not fairly characterized. It happens to everybody. It happens to us, I'm sure.
No, and yeah, absolutely. And one of the conversations that I did see being seized upon was Hassan Piker talking about Hezbollah. And as far as I could tell from what I read, his argument was that it's a legitimate resistance movement that has some political support in Lebanon, which the latter part of that is a objective fact, and that was he was. I'm not even sure if it's fair to say defending them, contextualizing them in that way. Now, if he said something that was more endorsing of direct acts of violence, then obviously I wouldn't defend that. But it is, I think one of the reasons that I'm approaching this slightly gingerly is that one of the people who has been most vocal in their opposition to him has been Congressman Richie Torres. a Democratic congressman who has been at the absolute forefront, I would argue, of delegitimizing or seeking to delegitimize criticism of Israel that is legitimate by painting it as inherently anti-Semitic or whatever, pro-terrorism. And so, to your point about not taking people's word
but he
for
did
it,
say,
Did he know my ball? Is he a
insane
ball knower, chat? Did he actually get my Hezbollah take correct?
over the years. But people say, oh, happens to us, I'm sure.
No, and yeah, absolutely. And one of the conversations that I did see being seized upon was Hassan Piker talking about Hezbollah. And as far as I could tell from what I read, his argument was that it's a legitimate resistance movement that has some political support in Lebanon, which the latter part of that is a objective fact, and that he was, I'm not even sure if it's fair to say defending them, contextualizing them in that way. Now, if he said something that was more endorsing of direct acts of violence, then obviously I would...
Ooh, my man Cook, goddamn. Okay. I mean, he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong. Okay.
Defend that. But it is... I think one of the reasons that I'm approaching this slightly gingerly is that one of the people who has been most vocal in their opposition to him has been Congressman Richie Torres, a Democratic congressman who has been at the absolute forefront, I would argue, of delegitimizing or seeking to delegitimize criticism of Israel. That
Ooh, goddamn. Yo, this guy's fucking... Okay. My goat. I don't know who this guy is, but thank you.
Is legitimate by painting it as inherently anti-Semitic or whatever, pro-terrorism. And so, to your point about not taking people's word
but he
for
did
it,
say,
I'm highly reluctant to take Richie Torres' word for it.
He did say it doesn't matter if effing rapes happened on October 7th. That's a pretty awful way to put it, I think.
It is a pretty awful way to put it. I mean,
you're just so...
Oh, it's so gross. It's so gross. Oh, so, so you understand my point, but you still gotta fucking glaze Israel. The dude across from you understands what I was saying, doesn't fully agree with everything that I'm saying, and still says, he is responding to this situation in a careless way. I wouldn't make that argument, but I understand where he's coming from. He is deliberately trying to obfuscate what my statement was. I hate when people do that, by the way. Oh my God. I really need to get better. I really need to be less autistic. Okay? I really, really, really need to be significantly less autistic when it comes to just like being purposely clip chimped. Like I have to dial it down because my 127 goes into like 167. Whenever someone fucking takes me out of context, I lose my mind, dude. And it happens so much. It happens so much. And I just got to get used to it and be more gracious. I really need to dial it down. You're the usual rich dude that acts communist, don't act humble, and like you care about others. What rich dude do you know that acts communist, brother? Like, what rich dude do you know that's funding unions, working with labor organizers, actively fucking working against the interests of capital? What are you talking about? I'm not trying to act humble. If that's your assessment, first of all, I've never acted humble. But if that's what your assessment is, that means you perceive me as being humble. I've never even entertained the notion of being humble. I'm not.
So wrapped up on your ideological commitment that, what Israel is doing is wrong, that you have to say, well, don't pay attention to that or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, look, those words are awful. They are part of a larger discussion, but I don't think you should say those words. His argument is the Israeli response was so brutal that it would not be justified.
Like, see, he's putting it in terms that I'm not, okay? He is taking a much lighter critical approach against Israel than I have. I'm saying Israel's doing a genocide because I think that is precisely what's happening. And there's genocidal intent, there's genocidal action, it's very obvious. And I'm saying that is completely unacceptable.
Even if there were rapes.
Baldy
There's
is
so many
Niall
other things he
Stanage,
says
by the
that
way. I don't know who that is.
on the show because they're so expletive filled, which is what you can do on Twitch, but not on our show.
Yeah.
Interesting though
but I'm glad that he at least gave the appropriate context to the statement. And all this guy can do when he hears the appropriate context of the statement is to go, oh, well, it's just so filled. It's so filled with expletives. Niall Stanage, White House columnist for The Hill, political analyst for News Nation. Irish Bannister Blinn, counselor of the Palestinian state at the International Court of Justice. Oh, okay. So he is like, I assume he is pro-Palestine. Francois Pinault is an anarcho-syndicalist.
He does have a massive following. He's part of the alternative media ecosystem, and gets a lot more attention for himself. And probably that's what the New York Times was trying to look at. How can, again, it's another Joe Rogan of the left kind of situation. How can we have an appealing?
I like that he. I respect that he said, "I am not trying to clutch pearls, but that's all I've done so far." First you say apologize for October 7th. Then you write a hit piece on a guy for being an apologist for October 7th. I love and support you and the mission you are spreading Israel awareness 100,000%, but this makes zero sense. Bro, I love you, but you do realize the language you use turns normies off? I know. I had an article today where a journalist straight up asked me, and was too afraid to read it, okay? Was too afraid to read my statement about Itamar Ben-Gvir, where I called him a porky little Nazi piglet. And the journalist was actually afraid of reading it out loud. And I get it, she's British, so maybe that's the reason. But it was so funny because, where is it? Where's the fucking quote? Hold on. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to show you exactly what I said. And I burst out laughing. And she's like, don't you feel like this kind of language might be might come across as off-putting to to a broader audience? And I was like, no, because I think that a lot of people do have this kind of anger and this kind of resentment. And I think it's perfectly appropriate. It's like, I don't want, my expectation is never that AOC is going to say words like this. And I don't think that the Democrats could get away with saying words like this in a way that Trump can. Oh, this is the one. This porky little Nazi pig was the lecturer these Nazis were salivating to attend, by the way. Itamar Ben-Gvir, Jewish supremacist, Kahanist terrorist of the Jewish Power Party. I'm right. You can disagree on the optics, but I'm right. You're gimping your reach, though. Okay, man. There's a lot of fucking polite people out there. Why is their reach not 1,000,000 times larger than mine then? What are we talking about? I feel like listen to me. All of these articles keep asking, why are so many people paying attention to you? Why do you have this level of popularity? And is it because you have your optics focused? Is it because you care about the way you look? Is it because you crafted your persona? And I keep telling them over and over again, and you should know this better than anybody else. You've been in here for 54 months. I'm just being myself. If I were to be someone else, then I couldn't be authentic. That's it. This is me. It might not be for everybody. And I know that this is not everybody's cup of tea. I know that this is not everybody's cup of tea, but who the fuck is the real villain here? Itamar Ben-Gvir or me for calling him a porky little Nazi pig? I don't necessarily care about civility anyway. I've said that over and over again. I see no reason to shelter my audience from the truth. I see no reason to hide my perspective. Watch live. Trump deliver remarks on his first 100 days in Warren, Michigan. Oh my God.
But I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. And we're here tonight in the heartland of our nation to celebrate the most successful first 100 days of any administration in the history of our country. And that's according to many, many people. This is the best, they say, 100-day start of any president in history, and everyone is saying it. We've just gotten started. You haven't even seen anything yet. It's all just kicking in. And week by week, we're ending illegal immigration, taking back our jobs, and protecting our great American auto workers and all of our workers, frankly. We're protecting all of our workers. We're restoring the rule of law, which was sort of out the window with this crazy guy we had. How the hell did that guy ever become president? Could somebody explain to me? How the hell did that happen? There's my friend, Blacks for Trump. I like that guy. He follows me. He follows me. We love you. Your whole group has been so supportive over the years. I want to thank you. Everyone thinks I pay you a fortune. I don't know. I don't even know who the hell he is. I just like him. Thank you very much. Thank all of them. Thank them all. But we're ending the inflation nightmare, the worst that we've had probably in the history of our country, getting woke lunacy and transgender insanity the hell out of our government, stopping the indoctrination of our children, slashing billions and billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse. And above all, we're saving the American dream. We're making America great again, and it's happening fast, too. What the world has witnessed in the past 14 weeks is a revolution of common sense. That's all it is, really. We're conservative. You're conservative, you're liberal, whatever the hell. You know what it's all about? It's about common sense when you think about it. We're for common sense. We like strong borders. We like good education. We like low interest rates. We like being able to buy a beautiful car. And now deduct the interest on the loan. That's never happened before. We want a strong military. We want low taxes. You know, the Democrats, they campaign on, we will raise your...
Dude, people that still believe this type of shit they're giving Japanese Imperial Force commander still stealing food from Filipino houses 29 years after the war. Okay? They're literally 100 days in. They're getting absolutely cumstered and dumpstered. And they're like, yeah, so much excitement. We're fucking killing it, sir. You're fucking in a fantastical universe. You're not in ours at this point.
We had just a couple of days just to make sure, because, you know, every once in a while you have a grandstander Republican. We have some grandstanders. But every once in a while, not many. But remember who those grandstanders were and vote them the hell out of office, okay? Will you do that? Vote them out of office. You know, they do it they're morally bound. You know what the answer is? If you don't get it, you're going to have the highest tax increase in history instead of the greatest tax cut in history. If the Democrats prevail on this bill, you get a 58% tax increase. Would you like that? These are the Democrats. But I've never seen all the years they campaign, we will raise your taxes. I say, this country has gone crazy. And today they did it again. Some guy that I'd never heard of. John James, is he a congressman, this guy? He said, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to start the impeachment of Donald Trump. What the hell did I do? Here we go again. They want to impeach me. This lunatic, he was up. Actually, I had the television way down, and I said to our great First Lady, listen, did I just hear I was being impeached again? We're getting good at this, though. No, they've gone totally crazy. These people, and you know what? They've totally lost their confidence, too. They can't even tell a lunatic like this dumb guy that said it. And then you have the other one that's always with the cane. He's always impeaching. He raises his cane. He always impeaches. But they have no control over those people. They have no control, and the reason is they've lost their confidence. They have no confidence anymore as a party. They have no candidates. And, you know, when they say that Bernie's probably the best they have. By the way, he's about 7 years older than me, more. 8 years old.
Damn. Yo, that's
one thing I gotta give him credit.
Don't do it. You're hurt. You're hurt. Hurt people hurt people. Stop
and he's
being
going
ageist.
around with AOC plus 3. You know, the plus 3 follow him. They hang on for little bits. They hang on for nuggets. And they get crowds. They say, our crowds are so much bigger than their crowds.
Our crowds are so much
crowds
bigger.
are small. If I ever had a crowd like their biggest crowd, they'd say it's over for Trump. He's lost the magic. But this is great, and all the people outside, we love you. We put screens up. Taking back our country from a sick political class that got rich selling America out and bleeding America dry. We don't let that happen anymore. And we had 4 great years. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. The stock market went up 88%. We did great. And we're going to do better now, because now we learned a little bit. After years of leaders who sent your money to defend the borders of distant foreign nations, that's what we did. We'd fight for other nations, but not for ourselves. You finally have a president who is defending our borders and our nation. After decades of politicians who destroyed Detroit to build up Beijing, you finally have a champion for workers in the White House, and instead of putting China first, I'm putting Michigan first, and I'm putting America first.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I saw the big Gretch. Oh, my God. How does this keep happening? I was just looking at this on the other monitor. Oh my God.
Well, I hadn't planned to speak, but I'm on behalf of all the military men and women who serve our country and serve so honorably on behalf of the state of Michigan. I am really damn happy we're here to celebrate this.
She's so cooked. There is 0% chance. There is 0% fucking chance. Nah. She is so fucking cooked. I'm sorry, dude. Let me tell you something, okay? Right now, her and Gavin have this dipshit perspective where they think that capitulating to right-wing framing and like teasing a collaborative effort with Trump because he's the president is actually going to pay out for them when they run for president. What they fail to realize is it is already so fucked. And we are in the first 100 days. Okay? This association with Donald Trump is going to put them on the worst possible position come the Democratic Party primaries. Because if you are looking at Donald Trump right now in the first 100 days, you're saying, oh, it's fine, like me caving on this stuff, optically coming out and showing some semblance of support to this fucking guy is actually good, when you haven't recognized how damaging Trump has been so far and how unpopular Trump is right now. Ooh, oh, buddy, there is no way out of this fucking hole. People are gonna, I think, look back at this and be like, you are shaking hands with Adolf Hitler. You are shaking hands with Adolf Hitler, with Adolf Putler, okay? This is completely unacceptable. I think history will not look fondly at this kind of, this optics L.
This recapitalization at Selfridge. It's crucial for the Michigan economy. It's crucial for the men and women here, for our homeland security and our future. So thank you. I'm so grateful that this announcement was made today. And I appreciate all the work. Thank you.
It's good. I'm glad that she's doing this because this is very quickly causing me to you know, this right here, if you think like AOC's instincts were bad for hugging the Biden administration and even lying on behalf of the Biden administration, saying they're working tirelessly around the clock for a ceasefire, right? Like that was a major L, right? That's a regrettable, perhaps even unforgettable L. This is that times a fucking million, okay? This is that times 7 million. Like this is, whoo, sheesh, is so bad. Is so bad. I think this straight up shows that these are depraved little freaks that only want like a glimmer of power. He said, oh, can we get Josh Shapiro to do this too? Josh Shapiro, I think, is a little bit smarter than that, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I think Josh Shapiro will, on the legislative side, as the governor, push for right-wing bills and shit, but I don't know if he is, I don't know if he's dumb enough to come out and show support for Trump, like physically. You don't want those photos being unearthed during the primary season, especially when, think about the first 100 days and then think that we have 1,200 more days of this. Okay? We have 1,200 more days of this. I don't think Pete Buttigieg would do this. I don't think Pete Buttigieg is dumb enough to fucking clout chase like this. Okay? So from not watching the whole clip yet, I think it's important to try to deal with Trump like how he deals with Kim Jong-un, purely for optics and trying to win his supporters over, but also not feeding into conservatism propaganda. I don't know. I'm just a dumb college kid studying for finals law. No. Especially when his popularity is cratering, chatter. His popularity is fucking cratering. It's not like he's above 50% right now. He is the least popular he's ever been in his career. He's the least popular any president has been at this point. He is right now the least popular any president has been 100 days in. And you're over there fucking doing photo shoots with him? That's crazy. Ooh, it's dumb enough as it is before, like, even if it wasn't Trump and if it was another unpopular Republican like this, I think it would be a major mistake for a blue state governor to do so.
This is what happened. And I knew nothing about her. She was vice president, but nobody knew a damn thing about her. She had nothing to do with the border, even though she was appointed.
Said who, though? Just made up numbers.
People,
True.
all of the great people, Paul and...
True. Look behind him. Everyone loves him. Obviously, that's just fake news. You're right. Yeah, I'll check back with you, Chatter, in a little bit, okay? I'll check back with you, Chatter, in like 10 to 15 days, okay? Come back in here in 10 to 15 days and remind me how you feel of Donald Trump when you go to the fucking grocery store and half of the shelves are empty and you're like, how the fuck did this happen?
Sound good, right? We won the 24, all that. The radical left Democrats would right now be importing the next 10 million invaders and giving amnesty to 30 or 40 million illegals, many of them criminals, many of them, frankly, murderers and people of crime at the absolute highest level. Real
people
bad
of crime.
people. It would
People
only
of
be a matter
color.
of years or months
People of
until
crime.
America itself became a failed third world nation. That was happening to us. We were going to be a third world nation. I'll tell you what, if these guys won, if this group of radical lunatics, and by the way, you know, Biden, we find out that whoever operated the auto pen was the real president, and Biden knew nothing about it. You know, he had a group of radical left guys who were very smart, and a woman, a particular woman. Very, very smart people. These are not stupid people. These are sick people, but they're not stupid people. And they were very smart. What they're best at is cheating at election. They cheat on elections. That's their single greatest trait. They cheat like hell. And let me tell you, they tried to cheat on this election, but we made it too big to rig. Remember? Too big to rig. They tried. I watched those numbers. We had Elon with us. Elon is a smart guy. Elon Musk was sitting with Dana White and Elon Musk, and I'm watching the numbers in Pennsylvania, and we're winning so easily. Then all of a sudden it flatlined. And I said, I think they're cheating again. Look at this. What's going on? I think they're cheating again. And Elon looked at us. He goes, no. You're going to win. They just don't know it yet. And about 15 minutes later, we won. Sort of crazy. I'll never forget. You're going to win. They just don't know it yet. But you know what? We made it too big to rig. It was too big. Starting on day one, I deployed the U.S. military to defend our country from the invasion of our border. I shut down all migrant flights. Do you remember when we're talking about people coming in, they're trying to deny it, okay? So people are flowing in. They say, no, I don't see any people. It's like, what's wrong? But then we saw airplanes going overhead. We said, what the hell are those airplanes doing? Big Boeing 757s were traveling right overhead, loaded up with people. I say, where the hell are those planes going? They were loaded up with migrants coming in illegally, flying in by plane, paid for by the U.S. government. I'll tell you, they are sick. Remember that day? That was the day we found out that not only do we have to defend it here, we have to defend it not only in the water, but we have to defend it in the air. The planes were going over us. I said, what the hell is that? I banned all welfare to illegals, and I signed an order that will end automatic citizenship for the children of illegal aliens. No citizenship. For years, Joe Biden and the media told us that stopping the flood of illegal immigration was absolutely impossible. He said it was impossible. He didn't know what the hell anybody was talking about. He said it was impossible, that the president had no power to stop what was needed in the form of legislation. He needed legislation. He had no power to get it. But it turned out that all we needed was a new president. Within days of taking office, I signed the Laken Riley Act. Laken Riley, beautiful Laken Riley, who was killed by an illegal immigrant, viciously, violently killed. But I signed the Laken Riley Act to facilitate the expulsion of dangerous criminal aliens, and when necessary, we had to put them in jail. We couldn't take a chance that they'd come back in again. In recent weeks, ICE, who are great, these people are great, has arrested dozens of child rapists along with murderers, kidnappers, drug traffickers, and thieves, and frankly, people from mental institutions. We've designated 6 murderous Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. We have also designated 2 bloodthirsty transnational gangs, MS-13 and Tren de Aragua, TDA. They've been designated the highest level of terrorist, and that lets us do a lot of things that you wouldn't be able to do. We got to get them out of here before they kill more people. They've killed plenty. My administration has increased arrests of known and suspected terrorists by 655%. Is that okay? We tried to get it higher. We tried to get it higher, but the courts are giving us a hard time. Can you believe? You know, I won on the basis of, I think the number one thing was on illegal immigration.
Arrest the judges that love immigrants.
From all over the world, they're unbelievably bad. In many cases, unbelievably bad people. I think that was the number one thing. And now the courts are trying to say that, that doesn't matter. I don't think it's going to be allowed to stand. Democrats have vowed mass invasion and mass migration. We are delivering mass deportation, and it's happening very fast.
I can tell.
The worst of the worst are being sent to a no-nonsense prison in El Salvador. Why don't you watch this? Watch this. Take a look.
Oh my God. He's showing the fucking concentration camp footage. Ay, ay, ay. Only by blowing up the economy, so even they don't want to come here, can I achieve a zero immigration number? Yeah, bro really thinks talking about it more will raise his ratings. I mean, in this crowd, he needs, they need a constant they need a constant steady flow of reigniting racial tensions in order to feel something. He's terrible at reacting, by the way. Can I just say, as like the supreme reactor, I have to recognize how horrible he is at reacting. A stadium full of people cheering, even they're not cheering. What is, oh my God, this is so crazy. Right Side Broadcasting Network showing it. 30K Andy, by the way. This is the gross shit that they're watching right now. It's actually good seeing the audience response to it because it feels like even the audience is not fucking with the vibes that much. Like it almost feels like there's a sense of shame in the footage that they're seeing because it's so fucking horrific. Now, obviously they're a cult, so I'm sure it's not. Maybe that shows why there aren't that many cheers, or maybe they're just waiting like the good little soldiers they are to cheer at the end of it. Yeah, just wait, they'll cheer.
So under President Trump, America is a dumping ground for criminals no longer. They're not even trying to come in. We're fighting to protect Americans, the radical left Democrats who are so bad.
No, my dad says all the time how much he loves these videos.
TDA, you just saw that,
Christ.
and MS-13 criminals, and you don't even know which is worse. But they are the top of the line. For years, Democrat politicians did not.
Bro, as a Midwest white guy, you have no idea how comfortable they are now with overt racism. I'm legit worried. No, I know. That is the big part of the bully pulpit. That's the big part of the impact of the bully pulpit has. The streams have been amazing lately, but I think it's time for some drama. Can we get Ethan on the horn or something? Don't worry, chatter. Friday, we will duke it out in the marketplace of ideas. Ethan Klein and myself.
They're racing to the courts to help them, but this is not what the people want. This is not what they voted for in record numbers. I won the election. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote. And we got 312 electoral college votes. And just this month, 2 Venezuelan members of TDA, Trendiragua, were arrested in Washington state for kidnapping a 58-year-old woman driving a power drill through her hand to extort her bank account information, shooting her, leaving her for dead. And miraculously, she just survived, but she's not feeling so well. In January, Trendiragua member in Chicago kidnapped 3 women, took them in an alley, lined them up, and shot them each in the head. They all died. And the FBI recently assessed that these vicious gangs have been sent by the foreign regime in Venezuela to foment violence and instability in the United States of America. Can't let that happen. And it's not just, in all fairness, not Venezuela. It's all over the world. It's all over. They come in from the Congo. They come in from Africa. The Congo, they've emptied out their prisons into our country. But they come from Africa, Asia, South America. They come from all over bad parts of Europe. That's why we've invoked the Alien Enemies Act to expel every foreign terrorist from our soil as quickly as possible. Never forget the same people that we now claim we're just not taking this crap anymore. We can't. They're claiming that we're not allowed to deport illegals, and they're the ones who orchestrated an 8-year campaign to jail their political opponents. Do you know what I mean? They want to jail. They want to jail. That's all they can do, jail their political opponents. What they did to people is a disgrace. And now they come after us. Why are you not nice to them? Why are you not nice to them? They tried to jail your president. They tried to jail. Except for the really courageousness of a few very good judges. You know, we could have been calling you from the other side of the bar saying, hey, fellows, how about a little protest? How about a little protest? But they cheered the assassination of CEOs, looted our cities, and destroyed our property. No, they tried to jail our politicians, and they tried to jail a lot of people, many of whom didn't even know what the hell they were being looked at for. These people are criminals. If they had their way, we would be living in a third world hellhole. That's what they want. Removing the invaders is not just a campaign pledge. It's my solemn duty as Commander-in-Chief. I have an obligation to do it. Save our country. And that's why we got, despite the fake polls, you know, they do these polls where they interview far more Democrats than Republicans. I saw them over the last few days, and I had them checked out. They interview far more Democrats for the polls. They interview Democrats by big numbers and then Republicans by small. They say, Trump only has a 44% approval rating. Well, it's actually not bad. But when you figure that if it were a legit poll, it would be in the 60s or 70s. These people are a bunch of crooked people. Oh, they interview more Democrats than Republicans. In other words, they take the poll and they interview Democrats. They poll Democrats. And then they say, they try and depress it as much, just like they write bad stories. 97% of the stories written about me, think of it, were negative, and yet we won in a landslide because they have no credibility. And also, we cannot allow a handful of communist, radical left judges to obstruct the enforcement of our laws and assume the duties that belong solely to the President of the United States. Judges are trying to take away the power given to the President to keep our country safe, and it's not a good thing. But I hope, for the sake of our country, that the Supreme Court is going to save this, because we have to do something. These people are just looking to destroy our country. Nothing will stop me in the mission to keep America safe again. It's very simple. Keep America safe again. Our first 100 days have also produced historic results in the battle to defeat Biden's inflation disaster and bring jobs and wealth back to America, and bring them back to Michigan, okay? We want to bring them back. As an example, since I took office, the cost of eggs is down 87%. Now, right? You remember a few weeks ago, before Thanksgiving, we heard about it before. I heard about it a long time ago. Before Thanksgiving, I heard about it. And then I was hearing that I wasn't president. This guy was barely president. Nobody knew, was he president? Who the hell was president? To this day, I say it was the one that operated the auto pen, but what do I know? But I was hearing about eggs, and then all of a sudden we have a great election victory. And my first week in office, they start screaming at me, what about the price of eggs? Eggs, eggs. I said, I've only been here for 6 days. I was there 6 days. I said, what's wrong with eggs? They said, the price of eggs has gone through the roof, and you won't be able to have them for Easter. So I put our very capable Brooke Rollins, who's our wonderful Commissioner of Agriculture that you know in Michigan. I said, Brooke, I've only been here 6 days before I heard, maybe even less, maybe 5, maybe 4. But it was my first week. And I said, Brooke, you got to save me here. I'm getting killed about eggs. What the hell's going on with eggs? She said, well, you can't get them. The price is through the roof, and it looks like we're going to have a real problem for Easter. You're not going to have eggs. I said, Brooke, that doesn't sound politically viable to me. That doesn't sound... Because nobody's going to believe me when you get out there that it's Sleepy Joe Biden's fault. So, Brooke, you got to get going, Brooke, please. And she did a great job. And you had so many eggs for Easter, and your price was down 87% from that point. Prices are coming way down. You know, the fake news doesn't say it. They said, he pledged. Now, I pledged safe borders. I pledged all sorts of things. But they said, he pledged to bring prices down. Well, that's what I've done. They're trying to say the prices have gone up. Your energy, your car, your gasoline, they have 3 states this week, a couple of days ago, that were $1.98 a gallon. So gasoline prices are down by a lot. Energy prices are down. Mortgage rates actually just went down. Prescription drug prices just saw their largest...
No, energy prices are down due to, I mean, a multitude of different reasons, but...
Remember what you heard.
Energy prices are down in comparison to where they used to be, but that's pretty much it.
The biggest plunge ever since they've recorded the prices, which have basically gone up, except for my 4 years. They did pretty well. But
why have you stopped fact-checking it when he says clearly incorrect stuff? Dude, I would not be able to... You think I'm capable physically of stopping time? A 1-hour speech would require me to do 8.5 hours of consistent fact-checking. His lie per minute is like 68.
Probably even worse than CNN. It's probably worse. Probably worse than CNN.
What the fuck?
I saw this horrible, horrible anchor. How these people get jobs. I wouldn't hire them to do the most menial of chores. But I saw this person. He campaigned on bringing prices down. Every price has gone down. What am I going to do? I mean, think of it. Gasoline was almost $4 not so long ago. And now, Mike, we just hit $1.98 in a lot of states. Think of it. And they're saying, and you know what? And inflation is basically down. And interest rates came down despite the fact that
Trump
I
makes about grocery prices and the cost of
a
gas.
good job, but I won't say that. I want to be very nice. I want to be very nice and respectful to the Fed.
Data from the energy shows national average 314.
You're not supposed to criticize the Fed. You're supposed to let him do
higher
his
than
own
the
thing, but I know
311 the
much
week
more
Trump
than
was
he does
inaugurated.
about interest rates, believe me. Core inflation has reached the lowest rate in 4 years, and last month we had the largest drop in consumer prices since the pandemic. This is all done in 100 days.
Energy is down to 64 a barrel.
Think of that. This is
Global
all done in 100
benchmark.
days.
Crude
But
was
when you
about
watch
64 a
the fake
barrel on
news,
April
you see
28th, but he
fake
exaggerated the
polls.
price of the time, which was about
Again,
80. Yeah,
they
see,
poll
that part is
more
correct.
Democrats than Republicans. Democrats
Yeah,
aren't
it went
gonna
from
say, "I'm gonna vote for
$80.
Trump."
The price of crude went from $80 to 60. He's not wrong. That is correct. When he says 198, that's false. That's a lie. But like, he's not wrong in terms of gas prices coming down. That's why I said like it's not. No, wait, they're saying it went from 89 to 80 and he said 64, but he exaggerated the price at the time of his. No. He's saying it went down to $64 on April 28th, and it wasn't $89. It was actually $80 when he first came into office. You're misunderstanding what their fact check looks like. Their fact check is saying it wasn't $89, it was $80, which is like, okay, fine. Yeah, he massaged the numbers. Trump's misleading claim, groceries are down, food is down, groceries as we call it are down. The CPI shows average cost of groceries in March increased by 0.49 from the previous month of 2.4% compared to the previous year. So obviously, yes, grocery prices have not come down. I don't think that he's right about that. I say he lies about that all the
Cross
time.
that one off. No, they say
But
it
the
all
price
the
of
time.
crude
When I
oil
was
barrels
out,
have gone down.
They say, well,
which means that which means that the price of gas at the pump is supposed to go down eventually, and like these things I feel like follow. It's a lagging indicator. Typical Hasanabi protecting rich streamers. Wait, who? Oh,
but
Trump.
we've ended the radical left. Well, we actually
See,
already
this is why we don't do live
three.
fact checking, folks.
But remember, I like the victories. I like the 3 victories, which we absolutely had. I just don't like the results of the middle term. The results. I don't want those results, John. I don't want those results. What results? What a disgrace. If we would have had this group for another year, we wouldn't have a country left. I really mean it. I don't think we would have had a country left. And now we're respected all over the world. They're coming from all over the world to see you, President. They're coming from India. They're coming from France. They're coming from
Yeah, we should all celebrate that he tried to nuke global trade, capitulated, and had a couple countries send trade envoys, which got no deals, by the way. Which got no fucking deals out of the process, too. But he just claims that there are 200 deals that he's already implemented. More deals than there are countries. And and all of the countries that have supposedly gotten deals out of the Trump administration are saying no deals were made. So
we lost, think of this, we lost billions and billions of dollars a day. Billions, not millions, billions of dollars a day. And under Sleepy Joe Biden. What's better, Crooked Joe or Sleepy Joe? Ready? A poll, a free poll. Because these pollsters are so corrupt. This is a real poll. We're going to poll Crooked Joe or Sleepy Joe. Ready? What's a better name for us to call him? Sleepy Joe?
Still hitting
or
on Joe.
Crooked Joe?
This is a real poll. Unlike the fake polls that have been coming out saying I'm unpopular, this is the only real poll that matters.
Nice ring to it. Because he had one ability I didn't have. He goes to the beach, right? And he could fall asleep on a cottage drooling out of the side of his mouth. And he'd be sleeping within minutes, carrying the aluminum chair, you know, the kind that's meant for old people and children to carry. It weighs like about 4 ounces.
Dude, I'm telling you, America deserves back-to-back demented presidents. We're doing a triple. We're hitting a triple. Like, you could say that Trump was kind of losing it on the way out a little bit. And then Biden obviously greatly created a permission structure for having a doddering old fool lead the nation into collapse. And Trump is just taking advantage of that. Oh my God. Back to back, different versions of dementia.
He was sleeping. I'd be tossing and turning and scheming and thinking and saying, how am I going to beat China? How am I going to stop the war with Russia and Ukraine? This guy could fall asleep with cameras blazing, right? Not too many cameras were blazing, but enough were blazing that you saw it. I thought it was a great ability that he had, actually. We've ended the radical left war on American energy. We've stopped their crusade on coal. Did you see what I did the other day? Clean, beautiful coal. I said, you're not allowed to use the word coal unless you say clean, beautiful coal. So you have guys getting up. Department of Energy. We have great people at Department of Energy. They talk about clean, beautiful coal. You know, China uses coal. They're opening up a coal plant every week, a massive coal plant. But we're not allowed to use it. But now we are, because last week I gave it absolute, total approval. And you know what I don't give approval to? Those stupid windmills that go round and round and round. And we've ended the Green New scam. We've reopened Anwar, the greatest drilling site anywhere in the world, in Alaska. And implemented the new energy policy of the United States. You know what it is? We have a policy. It's called Drill, Baby, Drill. That's our policy. That's our policy, Michael, right? Great Michael Watley, head of the Republican Party. He's done a good job. Him and Laura, they took the party by storm, right? He had a good candidate, but had a couple of good candidates, didn't he? Michael's been incredible, actually. Michael Watley, North Carolina. He watched in 2020. He did so good for me, and you know, he was in North Carolina. He did so great. What's the problem over there? What's the problem? Is that a radical left lunatic? He's just a child. All right, get him out. Yeah.
Get him out.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Beat that child's ass.
Thank you.
Kill him dead. Depart him. Put him.
And she now has to go home to a mother who's a big Trump fan. Her mother's watching. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I said he, and it's a she. I'm sorry. To keep my promise to the great state of Michigan, I terminated Joe Biden's insane electric vehicle mandate, where you were mandated to buy an electric vehicle. You were mandated within just a few years to buy an electric vehicle. How about that? And you know what? They're great, but people don't. Not everybody wants them. You got to be able to buy a hybrid, a gasoline-powered car, You can buy lots of different cars, but you can't be mandated to do anything. And I've already proudly imposed a 25% tariff on all foreign automobiles. Any foreign car, like they do, Todd. This is going to create more jobs in this state and this country. And to help these automakers bring their factories home as rapidly as possible, I've just signed an executive order to give partial tariff rebates to any company that assembles its cars right here in the U.S. In other words, they can't make it in time because they have to do it here, otherwise they haven't. I'm giving them a little bit of a break, right? They took in parts from all over the world. I don't want that. I want them to make their parts here. But I gave them a little bit of time. It's 15% and then 10% of the parts, so it's not so bad. Somebody would say, oh, well, that's a change in parts. It's not. It's called a little flexibility. The guys were crying. They love it. Everything's good. But just in case we can't get everything in time, we gave them a little bit. So it's 15% of the parts and then it's 10% of the parts. We give them a little time before we slaughter them if they don't do this. Right. They're going to make so much money. They're going to have so many jobs. No, but jobs are way up. Jobs are way up. We're pleased to be joined tonight by Brian Panebecker. Do you know who that is? Of the auto workers for Trump. And Brian is a union guy, loves the unions, loves everything, but he knew that Trump was right. Brian, come up here, Brian. I got to see Brian. Look at the arms in this guy. Look at the arms.
This guy gets so much
Thank
play,
you, Mr.
bro.
President.
This is the
It's a
same
great honor
guy
to
with
be
the
here
handlebar
on your
mustache, the
100th day
one
in office
union
of
guy
your
that he
second
loves
term.
parading around.
And I just want to remind you of something I told you.
Mr. President, I'm so happy you're nuking global trade. I don't need no goddamn Chinese car parts to build cars as an auto worker, Mr. President. I'm so excited, sir. Except I'm already retired, sir. Can you please kill more Mexicans for me so I can feel better about my position in society, sir? I love the union benefits that I've gotten, sir, but it's awesome that you're actually destroying the remaining unionization rate in this goddamn country, so none of these goddamn Gen Z millennials will ever get a crumb of the sweet, juicy benefits my union fought long and hard for me to survive so I could chirp on the main stage like this, sir. You are so good. Hell yeah.
I only had 10, 15 seconds to say something to him before we got our pictures. Fortunately, my son was standing behind me, so I've got a witness to this. And I said, Mr. Trump, we've got the keys to the White House waiting for you in Macomb County. And he kind of chuckled. He said, oh, yeah, how's that? And I said, well, Macomb County is the home of the Reagan Democrats. If you come to Macomb County and you ask for their support and you get it, you might win Macomb County big enough to carry the whole state of Michigan. And that's exactly what he did. So I want to say thank you to the who works in the automotive
Hell yeah,
field,
sir.
the suppliers,
Guess what? We are
every one
not
of you,
going to
the
have
truck
no
drivers.
auto truckers. Let me tell you, okay? Trucks, not a part of the auto workers. So we don't give a fuck that truckers won't have any jobs come this time around next month. Why? Because no commerce is moving around these borders. Why? Because our glorious president decided to nuke global trade.
Doesn't mind. But when I was backstage with him earlier and got my picture taken, I said, Mr. President, I've got a deal that you can't refuse. And he said, what's that? And I said, well, I'm writing a book, and it's going to be about my political journey. I've been involved in some things here in Michigan, conservative causes like right to work and the Michigan Civil Rights Initiative. And I said, you have a publishing company, Winning Team Publishing.
He's a right to work auto worker?
I'll agree to use your publishing company.
Dude, America is beyond redemption. I'm sorry. No, it's over. It's over. Dude. We're done. It's done. The project is done. I no longer have any fucking hope for America to go anywhere from here other than full tilt fascism. You got a whole ass union representative, like representing his auto workers union right now, okay, who is literally fucking saying that he took a pro right to work position, which is an anti-union position. What the fuck is going on, dude? What is happening? These guys literally think by the color of their skin, by the virtue of their whiteness, that they're somehow above the working class, I think. They think that they're going to get a better bargain in the process. This is psychotic. Now, he is not representative of the average fucking union worker, okay? No matter how right-wing or reactionary the average fucking union worker is, the rank and filer is, this guy's a fucking retired dipshit. No matter how right-wing, anti-trans, whatever, reactionary, culture warrior a union rank and filer might be, the entire fucking virtue of being in a union means that you're not anti-right to work. Like, that is ridiculous. He's just doing a I'm getting mine situation.
To President Trump. President Trump, I love you.
That's great. Thank you. Good man. He's a great guy. You know, he was with me from day one, 2015. Before 2016, he was there from day one. He got it. He said, we're losing our car industry. That's what he really cared about. He just said, I've had so many friends who were laid off. It's horrible. They lay us off like it's nothing. And the business went to China, it went to Japan, went to all countries all over the world. They're laying us off, sir. And then he said, we can solve that. I told him, we can solve that so fast. He's one of the early people that got it, and we've solved it. We're going to be doing numbers that nobody's ever believed. We'll be the #1 in the world again. Nobody can believe it because we have been beaten up so badly by these countries that have rigged the whole thing. They fight like hell. They're smart. Their product is good, but our product's going to be a lot better. We're going to do something that nobody believes, and he saw it right at the beginning. So I appreciate it, Brian. And he was there at the I love the guys from the beginning. I love those early guys. Those guys are right there. They were there from the beginning. Oh, you're going to see numbers, and you're already seeing them. Look, you know, we have many Hondas coming in, and they're coming in. We let them build their cars here. We don't want them to build them in Japan. We love Japan. We don't want them building them in Japan. We want them to build them here. We want China to build them in here. We want them all to build them right in here. That's what they've done to us for 40 years. And they've drained us. Now we're doing it to them at a better level than they ever dreamed possible. To further rebuild the industrial bedrock of our country, I've imposed 25% tariffs on foreign aluminum and steel. It's keeping our steel mills going. I did that. If I didn't do that with steel in the my first term, we wouldn't have a steel mill in the United States right now, and everybody knows it. I did it for washing machines, too, by the way. That's why I asked the people at Whirlpool. They were going to close. They were in deep trouble. I did it because they were dumping machines. I did a 50% tariff. Was going to raise it to 100%.
This is what you used your link permission for? You should have subscribed instead.
Successful company overnight.
Moz, don't give people link permission like that unless they subscribe, which will allow you to get link permission for $6 or for free, unimpacted by the tariffs regime that the Trump administration has implemented thus far. If you would also like to subscribe for free, you can do so with a Twitch Prime. That's right. Twitch Prime is free, folks. Use it on your favorite broadcaster. Hopefully that is me. Hasanabi Piker. 6 months in advance for a discount. I mean, I wouldn't ask that. You can also get gifted a sub. My favorite broadcaster is Sad Girl. That's fucked up. I use it on Misgift. That's double fucked.
Damn, this guy's good.